Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sing 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch storage type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Blast.
From TV.
To this day, to this day.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sing 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bums we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual, Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree. In the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch storage type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descendant of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Best.
Crumb TV.
Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome to another episode of Melanin Mondays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for the evening, Brother Red Pillar. And that song that you just heard right there, that, ladies and gentlemen, that is Theta Waves. That right there is Theta Waves, all right? And I got some good news. Let me share the good news that I have with y'all. I was talking to one of my representatives and whatnot. I actually had a counseling, and I was somewhat convinced to open up Spotify to put my music on Spotify. I don't have that song on the Spotify. But I mean, not even the Spotify, the DSP. I don't have Theta Waves on DSP, but I'm gonna drop the Spotify in the chat. If I get up to 1,000 monthly listeners, then I'm dropping it. Let's just put it like that. You know what I mean? So it's one of those challenges. Y'all make me drop it. Let me drop this link right here, and y'all go ahead and tap into the Spotify. The Red Summer album, Bill Bixby and Scorpion King single is up there, right? Others will be up there. Others will be on there. We'll get the whole 50 clip. It's a lot of songs and whatnot. I actually got inspired listening to A.A. Rashid. I was just randomly, working in school is what I call it, right? And I had a playlist playing, and I just let it ride out. And I did not know that my dude A.A. Rashid was putting in so much work in the music biz. Like, he's on mad people's albums or singles. He got a big catalog. He understands publishing, right? He's on those West Side Gun albums. He's on more West Side Gun than I even gave him credit for. And that's publishing, ladies and gentlemen. What does that mean? That means that it ain't even about a check right now. That's the long game. That's the shit that accumulates. That's compound interest, things that you could give to the little ones, to your seeds and whatnot. So I got a little. I'll get back to that whole conversation. That's just a little tidbit. But I'm on Spotify. We got music back on Spotify. Not all of the music, not the whole catalog. Red Summer. That should tell y'all that something is on the way. That's an indicator that something is on the way. I'll just leave it at that. We also got a few songs that we've done with other people that y'all never heard before. I got about 5 features that are up there that are fire and whatnot. So go and check that out. Red Pillar, not Red Pill, Red Pillar. That's the artist name. Red Pillar with an AR at the end, no 15. Red Pill, that's a that's the teacher. To be honest with you, that's like a brand that has evolved into Red Pillar, because when I started out, Red Pill wasn't a thing. It was really a Matrix thing, and they didn't have the Red Pill movement. It wasn't really confused like that. You know, there wasn't the confusion like that. It was just red pill. You know, it was like I was, you know what I mean? It wasn't confusion in the algorithm like SEO and shit like that. So we had to change that. So we evolved. It's like Optimus Prime turning into Hot Rod. How y'all doing though on this good Monday? How's everybody in the building? You know what I'm talking about? How are y'all doing in the building? You know, Charles, were you there for the album release on Halloween Eve? Is that what you're talking about? The one that we did in Atlanta? Man, I need the video of that. I don't have somebody shot that on a red camera, the cameraman, and the nigga started acting funny. We gotta do the camera commandments one day. You know what I'm talking about? We gotta do the camera commandments because everybody needs to know what not to do and what to do when it comes to people filming you. Okay. But let's go ahead and let's do the roll call and then we'll get into we got a powerful show tonight, y'all. Los Angeles in the building. Shout out to Los Angeles. We got Hawaii in the building. Shout out to Hawaii in the building. All right. Okay. Yeah, so for me to put out the 50 for 50, I do need somebody to help me with the mastering. That's the only reason why 50 for 50 is not out because some of it is old and I don't want it to sound like that. You know what I mean? Like audio means a lot to me. Good audio, that is. Portland, Oregon in the building. East Flatbush in the building. Charleston, South Carolina. Flint, Baltimore in the building. But I don't get caught up because a lot of people say a lot of things. You feel respectfully, right? They've been telling me shit that they was gonna do since '05. If I had $1 for everything that people said they was finna do, I'd be in Atlantic City right now, blowing it. Milwaukee in the building, Buffalo, New York in the building. We got Tucson in the building, DMV in the building, Bangkok, Thailand up in this thing. East Point is in this, Seattle up in this biatch. Cincinnati, we got Norfolk, we got Huntington Beach, California. You know, Indianapolis is freezing and it's snowing. Yeah, it got cold as hell in Atlanta. I got the heat on right now. The little heater. It was like 50 degrees and raining all day. I woke up to a tornado warning on my phone. North Las Vegas. I was like, what the hell? And then I seen something say it was a tornado supposed to hit the East Coast, like up in DC, but I get the tornado warning. I'm like, what's going on? Somerville, Tennessee, Hartford, Connecticut. We got Dothan, Alabama. We got Detroit. What up, though? Philadelphia. Tap it in. Rome, Georgia. Vinton, Louisiana. East Baltimore, baby. Gainesville is in the building. Pinecrest is in the building. West Hartford is in the building. Indianapolis is in the building. Brooklyn. Kansas City in the building. Indy in the building. Minnesota in the building. DC. Compton, Delaware, Orlando, DMV. All right, we outside. Yeah, we outside. The whole world is in the building. How about that? You know, you had a foot of snow in Big Island. What you mean, Hawaii? No. Is that the Big Island you speak of? That's crazy. Shout out to Cleveland. Shout out to Cape Verde, Akron, Ohio, in this biatch. New Orleans, Miami, Florida. Detroit, huh? Sebastian, Florida. Sebastian, Cape Verde up in this was global footprints. How's everybody doing? So check this out, right? Tonight's show, we are going to explore and we are going to revisit the conversation that had us captivated many moons ago, centered around the movie Sinners, right? Big night last night at the Oscars, and Sinners walked away as a winner. Okay? And the Great Divine Speaks Through Signs. There were so many subtleties. There were so many signs. There were so many things that were being said by both Michael B. Jordan and my guy, the ladies' favorite. I don't know who's more the ladies' favorite. We got Ryan Coogler, right? Who gets the award for how to make a black woman who's loved feel. He knows what he's talking about. He knows how to say it. But then, of course, we got my guy, Michael B. Jordan from Newark. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Both of them were saying some things, right? They were dropping some things, and there was other things. I didn't watch the awards, disclaimer. I just saw those parts. The red and the blue, the Abegis, right? Remember, this is an Abegi movie, right? This is a movie about the Abegis. This is also a movie, you know, they are the characters, they are the protagonists that are somewhat in the background, and the main character is Sammy, right? Woo! That performance, I wish I could play it, but you know, due to copyright, I won't be able to play it. But y'all be able to check it out. They did a live performance of the musical piece in the movie. If there's anybody left in this audience who has not seen the movie The Sinners, you know, spoiler alert. But for everybody that did watch the movie, I am saying on tonight's show that we have to go back and rewatch that movie with new eyes. We have to look at that movie with new eyes, with the new context, post Epstein. We got to look at this with a new context, post Trump 2020, this second term Trump. Look at that movie again. Let's go and revisit it. Okay? Let's go and revisit it. It's a timeless tale. Today, we're going to walk through multiple different scenarios that are going on in the world right now that have everything to do with the lessons that movie was giving us just over a year ago. Huh? Is it on Netflix? Is it on one of those streaming platforms? I need to set up a date so we could get somewhat of maybe a watch party or something. You know? Cairo, you got the watch list. I need you to tap in with me so we could go over the watch list. You know what I'm talking about? We need to get this watch list together, this playlist together, and allocate some time so we could do some of these watch parties. You feel me? And we got to bring back some of the decoding and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going to talk to my team, and we're going to activate some of the decoders so we could go ahead and give some of these must-see movies a real new. We got to comb through it. We have to revisit it. There are new tools right now that we could go ahead and scrape these movies and break them down, squeeze them like a juicer. You feel me? Squeeze them like a juicer. Director man on TV has Sinners, and they say so does HBO. Blessings. Prime as well. Okay, Prime. I'm seeing a bunch of Primes and shit. All right, HBO Max. Say less. You know what I'm saying? Say less. I believe we were doing watch parties through Discord. So we're going to have to set something up where we give people, listen, another news alert. I'm opening up a Discord for Know the Ledger 444. I'm opening up a Discord for Know the Ledger 444. We're going to have a separate channel for Melanin Monday, a separate channel for Techno Tuesdays, a separate channel for What the F Wednesdays, a separate channel for Third Eye Thursdays, a separate channel for Sacrilegious Sundays, a separate channel for Saturday Night Live, and we also have Mineral Ministries in there. Every single show that we have on this network will have its very own channel. What will be going on in those channels? I'm dropping all of these damn receipts, man. My computer is literally, I got 3 Macs. 2 of them are filled to the brim. I got hard drives filled to the brim. I just got this mini Mac with the Claude bot and whatnot. So I'm not putting a lot of files on that, but I am overwhelmed with information, research, papers, lectures, PDFs, or you name it. So yes, I want to open up these rooms and I want to turn these rooms into what they call repositories. My new name is the Repo Man, and I ain't taking your car. I'm doing GitHub repos. You know what I'm talking about? I'm doing GitHub repos. I'm heavy on GitHub and Hugging Face. You know what I mean? I'm heavy on these repos. So yes, we're going to open up the Discord. I will let everybody know when that link is available. It's definitely, because so much is going on, so much news, so many things. It's definitely time to compartmentalize, compare notes, drop links together. You see what they're doing with this censorship thing right now. You see how they're turning up the censorship knob and whatnot. I'm not finna get caught out there just like a lame duck taking information or being restricted from information or not being, you know what I mean, or getting propagandized. We ain't trying to have that. So we opening up these rooms. We'll let you know when it's ready and whatnot. Money time. Do I still have the Netaverse? Yes, it will be on the Netaverse server. Yes, so I do still have the Netaverse server. We have 4,000 people on Netaverse. I also have the Imaginarium as a private room or private channel on our Netaverse server, and I will be bringing this to the Netaverse server. No need to split things up. Everybody will be right there. So if you're a Netaverse and you still have your membership and you still a part of the Netaverse, just look out for this new Know the Ledger 444 satellite that's going to be popping up. Okay, so boom. So yes, so tonight we'll be playing different clips like we always do, and we'll also be going over what took place last night in the festivities, and we're just going to have this conversation. This is an ongoing Discord. Nothing has changed. Every single show is what we will call not just receipts, vindication. We're in a vindication cycle when it comes to this information. Not us, me personally. This is not a personal thing. Believe you me, this is an information thing. This is a consciousness thing. Consciousness has its own quote unquote. It is sentient and whatnot. Consciousness is doing what? It's having its own quote unquote moment of not just vindication, but it's having its own 360, its own, you know what I mean? Is coming into its own. We're just here to catalog it. We're just here to highlight it. And not only is it us now, there's a whole lot of people out there stamping it, cataloging it. We will call a decentralized network, similar to what they built out, or what their goal was when they built out DeFi and these decentralized networks. They wanted it to spread without being centralized. Same thing happened with consciousness. And when I say consciousness, I don't want no people to catch PTSD and think that I'm talking about what they may perceive to be the conscious community. I went down that rabbit hole this strong in too. I didn't know it was so many. It's a cottage industry of videos on YouTube where people are like, oh, the conscious community is toxic, is evil, is that, is this. And that's great. I get it. I understand. I definitely, I concur. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm talking about just consciousness without the community at the end. I'm just speaking of overall consciousness. What I would say is the hidden truth, right? Whatever the hidden truth may be, that is resurfacing. So every single show, in my humble opinion, is just us rolling out these stamps, rolling out these quote unquote indicators of truth is not just being told. The truth is being born. The truth is in the proof is in the pudding. The truth is resurfacing. It's demanding itself to be seen. So we just the vanguards and the stewards that are doing, and there's so many people playing their parts on so many. I'll never discredit what anybody in their community are doing for their community. I don't got nothing to do with that. I salute anybody that's telling their version of what they feel like the truth is, because my truth of 10 years ago is still my truth of today. However, things are subject to change. So where people start off, like, you know, it's some people that took the red pill in 2025 with the, or 2026 with this whole Epstein Island shit, right? They just took that, they just went down that rabbit hole. Where will they be 10 years from now? Right? Think about it. They're going to be, if they're consistent, if they allow the information to draw them into searching for themselves and finding themselves and getting in touch with themselves. Remember, like I've been saying, I started out with conspiracy, and a lot of people that I know started out with conspiracy. That's not the same case for this new generation. They got somebody put a lecture in their hand before they even got into conspiracy. They was on YouTube, or they were online, and they got put on to, like, you know, their indigenous history, or they got put on to Tartaria and shit like that. Everybody is waking up at their own pace. How's my volume? How's the volume? People that don't even speak English are having great awakenings right now, right? The whole globe is having a great awakening right now. So many things are becoming apparent. One, that the great Satan, they know who the great Satan is. People around the world, they could be illiterate. They could not speak English. They could be cross-eyed and whatnot. They could be at the lowest rungs of what people will call society. They have a greater understanding as to who the great Satan is right now. They didn't need to watch a lecture. They didn't need to read a book. They didn't need to get sat down and whatnot. They could see it. They could see the horns. You understand? I mean, you really got to be underneath a super duper spell. I'm talking about beyond decalcified pineal, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? You got to be on a lobotomy type level. You got to be on some Thursday, my G, to not see what's going on right now, and not to see who the sinners are, who the vampires are. Movies like this are the primers. You understand? Movies like Get Out, primers. And I was speaking about that before. Before you paint on my wall, you got to prime it. So before certain people get the reality repainted, or they get relearned, or they get re-educated, or they get reprogrammed, they need a primer. That's where Hollywood comes in. That's where these HBO and these Netflix and these TV shows, that's where they come in. They're just primers. They're not, you're never going to get the full whammy. You're never going to get the full awakening. You're never going to get what you really came for by watching a movie. It's just a primer. It just gives you the foundation. It just gives you that layer, that substrate, so you could put the real shit on top of it. You know what I'm saying? That's not even really the motherboard in a sense. It's just the primer. You feel me? But it prepares you. It's like John the Baptist and whatnot. It prepares you for that Christ consciousness, because the Christ consciousness is literally going to be something that you're living, and you cannot live in the REEL world. You could only live in the REA world. You could watch movies about climbing mountains, and then you could climb a mountain. You could watch movies about niggas boxing, and then you could get into a fight. Two completely different realities, frequencies, memories. It touches the cells. It affects the cells differently. You understand? It affects the cells differently. And so many people are living vicariously through the REEL world. And what the people around the world are beginning to wake up and snap out of that goddamn stupor that Dubai had them under, that all of those wizards and those warlocks in Tel Aviv had them under, okay? That Madison Avenue in the US of A had the whole goddamn world under. People are snapping out of that shit, bro. They're getting into the REAL world. When you saw those towers in Dubai get hit, my nigga, that was hitting Instagrams, that was hitting Snapchats, that was hitting all of these bimbos upside the head, that was hitting all of them porta potties and whatnot. That was destroying that matrix. Everything is relevant in 2026 in the fire horse apocalypse. It's all spiritual at this point, my niggas. We have crossed thresholds many times. This is a post Third Eye Atlas movie. Everything is spiritual. Everything is divine. Everything is symbolic. When the NBA canceled Magic City, my nigga, and then they replaced it with Israeli appreciation, my nigga, and y'all done burned down the NBA. Let me say something clear for the record, too. I am an adult. I am for adult entertainment. Let's just be clear for the record. Adults need entertainment. Can I get an amen? But we don't need entertainment at the price of exploitation. Okay? This is not Jabba the Hutt with Princess Leia with chains around her neck. We do not need entertainment at the price of exploitation. So that's what has to change. But I'm an adult who needs to be entertained. So I'm not against adult entertainment. If your ass made it to be an adult, you need some entertainment. Okay? This was not easy. But the exploitation of young women, right, who get traumatized, who get objectified, who get sexualized, commodified. I don't know about that. You know? That needs to be a conversation that Big Mama has. That's not really my call. You feel me? That's not really my call. But I see what's going on. You know? I know that anything that these small hats or these juice boxes got their hands all in, we don't need none of that. Yeah, we need re-educated adult entertainment. I could go for some belly dancers. You feel me? I could go for some belly dancers. Crazy part, the ATL don't have no Jewish community down here like that. They got the boule though. You gotta remember, they work through niggas. They got the sorority fraternities. They got the institutions. They the money man. You know? Leo Frank and the ADL and all that was all in Atlanta. They still doing the real estate out there. So all of the rackets that these people, yeah, they just went outside. They all in Buckhead and all of them other places, bruh. I could go for some Erica Badu entertainment. The Badu way. You know what I'm talking about? The Badu way. If she was to open an establishment, I'd be established in there. You know, I wouldn't be mad. I'm pulling up. I trust that she's grown and she knows what sensuality and affection and intimacy really looks like. But the operating system that was running the South and running Atlanta, that system has to change. That shit gotta go. Everything gotta go. The lines are being drawn in the sand right now, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta know what team your ass is on. There is no more play in the middle. Neutral gets hit with motherfucking rockets all day. The neutral niggas is getting bombed all day in Bahrain, Dubai, Kuwait, from Iran, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? That the great divine speaks through signs is telling you there is no middleman in the fire horse apocalypse. There is no neutral. You either here or you there. It's not tripolar. Okay? They cooking Jack Harlow? Huh? Yeah, Remick. Yes, Remick. Let's go through all of the Jack Harlow names. Yeah, Remick. Okay? My nigga. This nigga's Remick. You feel me? He cloned Drake. That's a Drake clone. Let's be clear. Jack Harlow, aka Black Harlow. And yeah, that was y'all Snow King. Some of y'all, you know what I mean? No judgment, only smudgement. No judgment, only smudgement. But yeah, that was niggas, that was y'all Snow King. Right? And he cloned Drake. Yeah, he was a diet Drake. He was diet Drake, right? He was Blake. He was Blake instead of Drake. This nigga was Blake, right? And they didn't pack him up back then. They was like, oh, that's cute, right? Because when you great value Drake. It's crazy how Jack, he's the face of gentrification. Instead of J. Cole Slaw. J. Cole Slaw. Oh man. They was cooking though. Let me get his picture though. I gotta put his picture up there while we cook. Give me a minute. Let me just get my boy. Cause he's woo. They talk about bring him to the barbecue. If you don't get your ugly ass over here, boy, he about to get cooked. So yeah, let's start with Jack Harlow, aka Black Harlow, aka Monica, right? He did an interview and they were like, man, Jack, you know, you weren't that popping with the blacks and whatnot. You could have retreated into rock and roll like Post Malone. Let's add some context. Here we go. This nigga said he got blacker. Yeah, protect the gates. Protect the gates, y'all. Protect the gates. Y'all got Jack Harlow at the gates. You know what I'm talking about? He's here for Monica. But let me pull this video up. You want to talk culture vulture? He stepped right in the trap. Yakub Kweli. Music Rothschild. Music Rothschild. Yeah, I hope I don't get no strike for this. Here we go. It's your boy.
John saying you didn't retreat into a whiter genre. In fact, John saying you didn't retreat into a whiter genre. In fact, you arguably went into deeper into
I got blacker.
Black music.
Yeah.
deeper
IRS
into black.
Yeah.
So was that conscious? Was that a little twist on
Old
the
dirty
typical move that white
Alabasters.
rappers make, which is to retreat back into traditionally white sounds?
It certainly made what I already wanted to do even more appealing. Absolutely.
Because you like pushing that boundary, that line?
I think I love black music. I love the sound of black
Who
music.
among us?
Yeah, I
It's
love
like-
the sound of black music.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm hyper aware of the politics of today, that safer landing spot that a lot of my white contemporaries have found. And of course, it appealed to me to do something that I felt like at a time when there's plenty of people expecting me to take some of the routes y'all are taking.
Yep.
To take the route that not only might not be expected, but is also the one I genuinely want to take. So all the stars aligned in that way for me, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend like what you're talking about. I was like, I guess you're right. I knew that there were multiple things appealing about this route, but I also came to the decision, I'm proud to say, off of what feels good in my ear. I love R&B music. I love the sound of soft, intimate, melodic music. So
Yeah.
I want to be understood. I want to write melodies that invite people to sing along.
Jack. Come on, Jack. Let's all say it together, y'all. Benny the Butcherstein. Brian McWhite. Old Dirty Alabaster. Yo, look at what they unlocked. They unlocked it. This is like Claude Code and Claude Code work, my nigga. They unlocked a whole skill in us. Niggas unlocked some new shit in us, bro. They unlocked something new in us. Drew Hill. Wait, Proud Boys to Men. Genu White. Grand Scuba. Jack Halal. Jack Halal. Jupac. Q and Tip. Yo, man. Oh, man. You want to talk about an ether? Oh, man. Ashia Roth. LL Cool Whip. Cream Latte. Finish him. I can't even listen to the album, bro. I didn't hear one pip of it. I just know that he tried to come out, niggas tucked them right back in. Ah, man. You want to talk about it's man, you can't come back from this one. Pooh Whitey. Ghostface Stiller. Chaka Carter. Little Juicy. Oh, man. He's getting cooked. It's over. Jay Nilla. Oh, man. Y'all are crazy, bro. Y'all too much. Y'all too much. We got to keep it moving, man. Vanilla Splice. He just, you know what I'm saying? He just wanted a black girlfriend. Now look at this shit. Dawson Bleak. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Somebody with some time on their hand, they're going to make an AI out of all of these shit, yo. They're going to make an AI, an album cover with all his new names. Man, nigga said White Thought. White Thought. Not White Thought. Yo. Oh, man. Nah, come on, son. Not White Thought. Al White. God damn. Let's go, man. This is crazy. This is crazy, bro. This shit is crazy. So, yeah, he's finished. Once again, people coming up in the culture on a vulture time, right? Trying to steal from us. You know what I'm saying? And our people ain't having that shit no more. Like, it is so wonderful to live in the world. I told you so. I told you niggas, where our people are literally not having it no more. Like there's a shift taking place. You know what I'm saying? Rome wasn't built in one day, nor was it destroyed in one day. You feel me? But there's a shift taking place, and I welcome that shift. I welcome that shift. Matter of fact, let's get a word from Ryan Coogler before we even start the show. Yo, Ryan, nah. We ain't gonna get a word from Ryan. Ryan gonna come later. Ryan will come later. Nah, Ryan, pull up.
We in your nightmare, right? Yeah. We in your nightmare. Although that sometimes it could be a traumatic experience, right? All the mere people that you could have had as your demon, right? You chose me, so I'm just eternally grateful for the opportunity, right? Yo, bro, it's crazy. It's kind of dark in here, right? If I was doing the Sheen, right, I would use a Sony Vanish. It works well in low light environments. Kaushi has the percentage of Sinners winning Best Picture at 23% at the Oscars, right? So to be honest with you, bro, I'm not really concerned about winning, right? Because it just means for exposure, right? The more your art becomes exposed, the more your character becomes exposed. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to avoid sleep, right? What I could do, what I can do for you, I can make you coffee, right? That's gonna keep you going. You can ask Mike. Yeah, Mike know. Yeah, here you go. Oh man, how we do? Bro, I'm not gonna lie, it's trippy, right? It's eerie, it's dark. It kind of remind me of Joaquin Miller Park in the Bay.
Shout out to everybody from the Bay, man. Shout out to all of my Bay, man. Yo, y'all legends right now, for sure. All right, check it out.
White person not want to be white no more. A Ryan Coogler movie gonna make a Jordan Peele movie is gonna make a white person not want to be white no more. A Ryan Coogler movie gonna make a white person want to be black. Now see. So go ahead, grab you a seat. This is gonna be a lecture, and you know how we get down. My name is Jaden Clark, a senior here at Stanford University in a dual degree in mathematics and comparative studies and race and ethnicities, and this is my CSRE capstone project.
I just want to start this video off by saying this brother, to me, it's so many others, but this brother right here, you know how they had the quarter zip movement where the young brothers were taking off the shiesties and whatnot, and they were getting into drinking lattes. This is what the evolution looks like, especially amongst our young brothers that are in the colleges and whatnot. We need thought pieces, y'all. For our young brothers that are intellectual, this is your time. This is your time to shine. The stage is set. This is your time. I need more videos like this. Thought pieces.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Okay, so everybody loves a good horror movie, right? That feeling when your heart jumps, the lights cut off, and for a second, you don't even know if you're safe anymore. For a long time, the horror genre focused on one essential idea, which is that fear comes from the outside. Something supernatural invades a world that was perfectly fine just 5 minutes ago. Think The Exorcist, The Conjuring, Insidious, movies where demons, ghosts, curses, and possessions break into a peaceful life, and that's what makes it terrifying. And horror mastered that formula. You can think about all these different things. The eerie silence before a scream, the slow creak of a door, or even that jump scare that you honestly probably knew was coming, but you still weren't ready for it regardless. But here's the limitation. Traditional horror imagines fear as an interruption. It assumes the world is safe until something evil happens. That assumption only works if your world was safe to begin with. And for black people, the horror was never waiting behind a door. The horror is the door. It is the system, right? It is the world. Black people live in a society where the jump scare isn't a monster in the closet. It's a moment the police car turns onto your street. It's the doctor not believing in your pain. It's the school counselor redirecting you away from your AP classes. And it's walking into a store and feeling every set of eyes on you like a tracking device. And that's what people are failing to realize. We didn't need Hollywood to imagine horror for us. We're already living in the genre. And that's where black filmmakers flipped the script. They took horror away from the supernatural and turned the camera towards our own social reality. Horror stopped being about monsters chasing people, and now it's about systems chasing people. Both Peele and Coogler are asking the same question. What does it mean to move through a world where your very existence is shaped by systems that decide your vulnerability. But the way that they answer that question, very different, in my opinion. Peele, on one hand, traps his characters in tight, suffocating spaces where the horror is subtle and psychological. The suburbs, right? The lab, the mirror, the living room. That's what Peele is doing. Coogler will build entire worlds where the horror comes more from history, right? This could come from Jim Crow afterlives, right? From the memory of violence that refuses to stay buried, and from the complicated futures of black sovereignty. Basically, think about it like this. Peele is saying, look at the horror that already surrounds us. Coogler is like, look at what we built in spite of it, and look how the world still tries to take it.
Man, I love it. I love it. That when I was able to watch that video, it literally took me into a very deep place where I was able to really see what the picture the brother was painting. This level of storytelling right here. We can actually, I would love to do a class to help my editors and to help, maybe some people that are on the KTL team, some KTL content creators. Shout out to the KTL Clippers and whatnot, where I could show you how to do these new media videos that are like this, right? I literally have a trick to where it's a 4-step thing, and you could knock videos out like this 3 a day. If you really focus, you got to be focused. You got to be locked in and whatnot. But for my young intellects, you don't even got to be a college student. I would prefer somebody that is in a college of their own, self-educated. Me personally, since I got back from Columbia, I've been enrolled in an online university. I've been enrolled in my own college. You know what I mean? Like I took myself to my own college. I'm literally in college. My semester is over very soon, but I've been locked in consistently. I'm talking about completely locked in, working, learning, testing, doing a lot of things of that nature and whatnot, and being very disciplined in it. You know what I mean? Becoming an expert in new things, challenging myself. You feel me? Like that is something that we as a collective and as individuals, that's that new energy. That's that Aries and Neptune's energy and whatnot. And I promise you will be handsomely rewarded, right? For leveling yourself up, for betting on yourself and whatnot. So once again, shout out to the content creators that are out there putting them things out. Jordan does mainly thriller horror, like he does the funny real aspect. I won't prefer one over the other. I don't want to get into that type of comparative. I could relate to Ryan Coogler, his films, I could relate to the films more, but I do respect both of their artistic styles. I respect the whole thing. Let us continue. I want to have this conversation about what's going on. You want to talk about sinners. You want to talk about the vampires. You want to talk about Remick, right? You want to talk about these evil people, right? The KKK and all of that they were pointing out in the movie. Remember that? Okay. Let's tap into what's going on with this administration. Let's go down that rabbit hole real quick.
Afternoon, Cuba's national electrical grid has completely collapsed, leaving millions right now on the island without any power. The island is in darkness. Reuters has confirmed that the country's grid has completely collapsed right now. There's really no reason right now for the blackout that has been stated publicly by authorities, and authorities are actively investigating what caused this blackout. It comes as Donald Trump has repeatedly claimed publicly that Cuba is on the brink of collapse and that he was turning his sights to Cuba alongside Marco Rubio next. Once they finish off with Iran, they started talking about Cuba a lot more after they abducted Nicolas Maduro and took him to the United States to be held for trial. And now you have an island and millions of people across Cuba in near or complete blackout. Very serious situation. I'll have more updates for you very soon. As always, spread the word and follow along to stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. More to come soon.
So the USA, the pirates, right? And this administration that we've been covering ever since this is, this new administration, we've been covering this new administration even before they became the new administration. We were on top of Project 2025. We were on top of Theo. We were on top of a bunch of them, highlighting the just you know what I'm saying? Just highlighting the vampirism. People want to call it fascism and all of these fancy names, but it's imperialism, it's colonialism, and it's vampirism by any other name, right? So we've been highlighting these quote unquote pirates. And one of the most dangerous pirates that they have running around right now with damn near with diplomatic immunity from the Trump administration is Mark Rubio. All right. Mark Rubio represents the colonized Cuban mind, or the colonized quote unquote. He is what George Zimmerman represented in 2012 to melanin people, when you really got to see what type of person that was, when you saw the trial and when you were able to see what type of Poindexter you were looking at, when you were able to, some of us, we were getting what they would call, what's that word, our epigenetics were being triggered and whatnot, because in Mark Zimmerman we were coming across the quote unquote Jews that crossed us. The we were being reminded of these people that came out of what they call now Latin America, right? And they were some of the ones who double crossed us, going all the way back into the Iberian Peninsula, bro. The Spanish Jew, which was the Zimmerman type. You have that in Mr. Mark Rubio, whose parents were the ones who got packed up and sent to America when Baptista got dethroned with the successful revolution of Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, and what took place in Cuba, right? A very melanated, very magical, right? Very ancient, very ancestral node. Okay, I will call it a node. It is a node connected to other nodes, right? It is a quote unquote foundational node of power, not just magic, ladies and gentlemen, of power, not AI power, right? Ancestral intelligence. Okay, do not fall for the propaganda. Don't judge Cuba based off of the fact that it's not technologically advanced. And do not, what the hell is a node? If you gotta ask, you can go and look it up. You know what I mean? Since you're so adamant about knowing what it is, take that adamant energy and go punch it in the quote unquote chat bot or something. But what they are doing, okay, by encroaching, is basically they have it under siege. What they're doing is they have a siege on Cuba right now, and they are crippling them. It is violence. It is a form of warfare. It is already a act of war. It is already an act of war. If they don't have boots on the ground, or if they don't have bombs dropping over their heads, it doesn't matter. The war has already started. They are being sieged. There's a siege that is upon them, and now their grid has collapsed, right? Blackouts are the next step. They are what they want to anticipate is a regime. They want societal collapse. They want some type of CIA operations to take place. With the grid collapsing, you also have to factor in the fact that they have never invaded Cuba. They have never really successfully gotten in there and did anything. but they may take that as an opportunity to either send in drones or send in some of these stealth fighters and whatnot. But they're definitely going to try to carve up Cuba. Mark Rubio, who the predictive markets are favoring as a potential presidential candidate over JD Vance, right? You have Kalashi and also the other big one, right? They basically got Mark Rubio in the running right now. And he's one of those, he's a do boy, okay? He's a do boy. You live in Florida. The Spanish people down here are iffy. It's too many different ethnicities to determine which one is really for us or not. Yo, I already said, well, you know, it's already been determined. The Cubans that are in Cuba are not the same as the Cubans that are in Florida. I want everybody to understand that. They're going to have a lot of people dancing in the streets. These are the children of the conquistadors. We cannot confuse people that speak Spanish for people that are down with the quote unquote people, right? But time is going to be the best teacher. People are going to really realize that taking the side of the colonizer or siding with the quote unquote conquistador as many times as they may have done it over the centuries, yeah, that buck is going to come to an end very soon. That buck is going to come to a stop. There's but so many times that these people will be able to double cross and do the fuckery that they've been getting away with. This is when it's all coming to head. So shout out to the powerful, or, you know, shout out to all of the powerful shamans. Shout out to everybody on that island that been putting in that work and whatnot. You know, yeah, it's all good. Let's go to the tapes.
Entonces no comería esta mañana comería pan otra vez por la tarde, ahora por la noche y todo eso, porque jabones, esto es lo único que tenemos los muchachos hoy en día para distraernos, el dominó. Y pasar el tiempo. Y pasar el tiempo. Sí, porque tenemos hasta los teléfonos apagados. Sin carga. Pasar tiempo en familia. Andamos sin teléfono, incomunicados, todo, ¿ya? Entonces, a lo que vamos a hacerle, está jugando dominó aquí hasta ver qué se puede hacer.
Yeah, shout out to the people over there. You know, try not to get caught up in situations that you may not have knowledge of, especially when it deals with people that do some very powerful magic and whatnot. And especially for the people who are quote unquote considered to be very you know, they are the fighters. They are the fighters. They're the ones that are standing on the business, right? They're the ones who are standing up against what you would call the machine and whatnot. These were the people who, you know, would be more in alignment with what, you know, what you may be relating to than being in alignment with this guy.
More than enough power to... Welcome to Lil Donnie's opposite world. All the things he said he'd do and what's actually happened. It's been over a year since Donnie got into office. He's had more than enough time and more than enough power to actually accomplish his stated goals. Let's take a look, shall we? He said we'd have lower grocery prices. As of today, they're around 2.1% higher than when he took office and rising fast. He said he'd cut energy bills by 50%. They're up nearly 7%, and the Iranian war is kicking them even higher, projected to be around 20% higher in the next few weeks. He said he'd end inflation. It's up 2.4% overall. 18% for coffee, 15% for beef, 3% for housing, and a projected 20% rise if we're not out of Iran in a week. Eggs went down some 40%, which is great. But that's from the end of a bird flu outbreak. So unless Donnie was out there snapping infected bird necks himself, He had nothing to do with it. He claimed there'd be a job boom, but the market has actually stalled with the smallest growth in the last 20 years. He claimed there'd be a manufacturing renaissance. We've lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs overall. He claimed the tariffs would be great for farmers. Instead, 15,000 farms have closed. Farmers are taking out loans to stay afloat, rising to 625 billion in new debt, the highest in history. And the row crop industry is already in a recession. He said he'd cut the national debt. He's added 3 trillion to it. He said he'd make housing more affordable, then got into office and said he'd keep housing prices up. He said he'd never touch Medicare. He cut 1 trillion from the budget and 17 million people are losing coverage. He said he'd protect Social Security. Then his own Treasury Secretary claimed they'd privatize it. He said he'd make healthcare cheaper. Every single person's healthcare costs have risen, some by over 600%. He said he'd end the war in Ukraine in under 24 hours. He said there'd be no new wars. He said he'd release the Epstein files. He said he'd only deport violent criminal immigrants. He said he'd end corruption and drain the swamp. But it turns out, he only replaced it with a bigger swampier swamp with a big gold Trump sign at the entrance.
So for the people who have rallied behind this man, for the people who have went on record supporting this man, for the people who voted for this man, this is how schizophrenia starts. This is how sickness of the mind begins. This is a very abusive relationship, ladies and gentlemen. This is a narcissistic, toxic relationship if I've ever seen one. For those that have basically put their trust in that man, you need therapy. You not only do you need a hug, and not only do you need some quote unquote milk, but you need therapy because you're being abused right now by an old white man who you trusted, who you put your trust into, right? Some people bet it all on this guy. And now look at you. Look how you look. Okay? There's no excuse as to what the hell is going on other than it is what you feared it was. It is what we say it is at this point, right? So get your money back. You know what I'm talking about? Get your money back because we're not trying to hear you. You need more people. Matter of fact, y'all need to self-deport. All you Trumpers and you MAGAs and everything, the people that wasted our time and the ones that were in this community trying to speak up for him and trying to entice our people into being on the wrong side of history. Yeah, pack it up. So check this out. When you want to talk about pack it up, guess who came to the quote unquote award show dressed as a vampire, right? You want to talk about being in character, and that wasn't the cat that wasn't the role. You know what I mean? Because he's still in character, right? He's still in character. Okay, that's Remick showing up with the fangs in his mouth. You know what I'm talking about? Last night, that's Remick pulling up as the vampire.
At this point, I'm not gonna lie. Jack O'Connell, you might be Remick for real. Buddy pulled up to the Oscars as Remick. Like, real life pulled up with the fangs, y'all. Come on, this has got to be one of the best Oscar, pieces of attire to be seen in history. So pull up to the Oscars in real life, pimp up with the whole get up for Remick, and just when they were performing, he walked up on stage by Preacher Boy and really was in character, bro. Can you say iconic? Can you say phenomenal? Like, I'm not gonna lie, Jack O'Connell, buddy, he's invited to the barbecue. And he got, bro, real talk. Like, to really see that dude's performance in Sinners and see what he did, like, I will never forget that scene in theaters when he just dropped out of nowhere and he runs up to the house before he converts with vampires. He's like, I got gold, let me in, I got gold. And then he transitions to where he converts her husband. He's like, shh, 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 shh. Oh my God, bro, Sinners is so good. I'm so glad I got to experience this movie. The era that I'm in, the generation that I'm in, I can't wait to tell my kids about this. This is definitely gonna be one of the movies where they're watching. I'm like, hey, y'all know about Sinners. That's a classic. Go and pop that in. Y'all, it's a vampire movie but it got soul to it.
This happy ass nigga.
Jack O'Connell did it with this though, y'all.
Once again, you know what I mean? You can't take the whole out of some of these dudes, man. Like, whatever. You know? Whatever. But yeah, homie running around on his shit. You know what I'm saying? And he got, you know, he got men like that glazing, you know, talking about he gonna talk to his kids about nigga. If you don't know that, once again, our people, right? Not our people, but people will let Remick in. They will let the vampires in because they are just that far gone, right? They are enthralled by the fuckery, right? You want to bring him to the cookout. So this is the shit that he's enthralled by, right? So remember, it just begs of the question, especially with our people that are compromised, the girls that went to Dubai to get pooped on, the drillers who are still rapping about killing one another, the people that got mad because the NBA wouldn't allow strippers and chicken wings into the festivities, like that contingency of our people. Have they been bitten by the vampire, and are they stacks? Right? You got to ask yourself that, because one of the brothers crossed that line and there was no coming back for him. He was a demon forever. He was on demon time forever. He had got bit by that vampire the same way that P. Diddy got bit by that vampire, the same way that quote unquote these rappers get bit by the vampire, the same way that so many people in this community that are now locked up and whatnot for not being able to control their demons got bit by that vampire. That vampire could have been show business, fame. That vampire could have been lust. That vampire could have been greed. That vampire could have been Negroes getting drunk on power. That vampire could have been falsehoods. That vampire is, it's a lot of things, but it's dealing with the loss of mastery of self. That vampire, that energy, that vampiric, that's what people not being in control of their higher self, not being masters of their universe, letting the vampire, letting the quote unquote what they will call the parasites. Okay. So I hope the makeup people got an award and whatnot, because god damn it, they did their thing. You know, they did their thing by turning this thing into, they, you know, it was really the as you can see, it was the special effects that really drove the story home, that really gave you this quote unquote feeling that this was really a vampire movie, because that's not how the movie started out. But when you got to see shit like that, you was like, oh shit, we are in a mother effing vampire movie, my nigga. It's going down. It was literally when you saw the scenes like that where people had the makeup. I know. It's a vampire movie. You know what I mean? I did say spoiler alert earlier. And if you saw the movie, you're not seeing anything new. You knew that it was already on some shit. One of the great things about this movie now, being in an Oscar-winning movie and whatnot, is that people are going to have to. They're going to be people that'll watch this from around the world that would have never watched it before. It's going to get a whole new breath. It's going to get a whole new life. It's going to get a whole new set of wings and whatnot, right? Especially when people were able to see those brothers' acceptance speech. I'm not able to play the acceptance speech because I'm sure that that might get flagged and whatnot. Yeah, Big Mama was sexy. Yes, she definitely was, you know. But let's go into another clip. let's go into another clip. Where is that clip? Give me 1 minute. Let me send this to the ting. Now, in the movie, there's an interesting theme, or there's an interesting scene with the Asians. Okay, spoiler alert, right? The Asians, the inclusion of the Asians in the movie is interesting. And yeah.
Chinese community in the Mississippi Delta that's been living there for over 100 years. I did not know that until the movie Sinners, to be quite honest. And in my research, apparently the Sinners team worked with Chinese American documentary filmmaker Dolly Lee to ensure that the characterization of Grace and Bo and the representation of Chinese immigrants during that time period in Mississippi was authentic. Dolly Lee also made this documentary for AJ Plus on YouTube called The Untold Story of America's Southern Chinese, about the unknown community of Chinese Americans who lived in the Mississippi Delta for more than 100 years. The 8-minute documentary video talks about how the Chinese immigrants were also working in the fields because they were cheap labor because they were foreigners with no citizenship rights. But then a lot of the Chinese immigrants pivoted to owning their own grocery stores. They were able to sell to both white people and black people. And while they made up a very small population of the Mississippi Delta, they still contributed and made an impact in the community nonetheless. See all of that history in that documentary through the characters of Grace and Bo in Sinners. In the beginning of the movie, we get introduced to Bo and Grace through that sequence of, I believe, smoke in the town where he first visits Bo. And then Bo has his daughter go and get Grace, and she has to walk across the street to the white people grocery store where she is managing that, showcasing that these Chinese immigrants are able to kind of cross that barrier freely, not freely per se, but being able to sell to white and black people and kind of cross those different worlds more seamlessly than, of course, black people. It contributes to the overall perception of Asian American people in this country. How on one hand, we are perceived by white people as the model minority and the good people of color. That doesn't come without marginalization and oppression from those very same white people. Also not invalidating that our oppression and marginalization is nothing comparable to what black people have experienced in this country. But Ryan Coogler takes one step further in the inclusion and representation of Asian Americans in Sinners by including traditional dance from the Asian diaspora in this scene. I love that when Grace and Bo started dancing, that we got to see traditional dances from the Asian diaspora. Correct me if I'm wrong if this is not the correct photo to symbolize the dance that was seen in the movie. I mentioned this in another video, but we also got to see Sun Wukong, who is the Monkey King in a...
So the Asians in this movie are the ones that basically created the problem. The way that Ryan Coogler was able to write it, he was able to show through film and through, remember, he's a master storyteller. He got the award for what? Original screenplay. Not an adaptation, an original screenplay. It means his pen is crazy. You feel me? That pen is crazy, right? So he was able to write into the storyline, right? Because the story is layered. Remember, it has spawned multiple think pieces. And the fact that it took home these top awards undoubtedly will spawn new think pieces or thought pieces as a result, right? Especially in lieu of the times that we're living in right now, where there's so many quote unquote topics that you can draw from. Meta Yahoo, right? Peter Thiel, Trump. I mean, it's endless. It's endless how many remix are running around right now. even in the world post Diddy, because I believe that Diddy came after the Diddy trial came after this thing. So even he and in his journey and his epic and whatnot, that was all sinners based. Even to the point at the end of the movie when homie came into the spot and he had the Coogee sweater on and he was with the Spanish chick, or he was with the chick that was passing for white, Mary, right? They said that that was literally a snapshot of Diddy and Jenny from the block. P. Diddy and Jennifer Lopez on some vampire shit in the 90s, you know? When they pulled up on homie at the bar, right? But in the movie, it was the Asian woman that let the vampire in when everybody was on code, right? Everybody was on code and they were holding the door. They were holding the door, right? And the Asian chick, she was holding it down and then she became the weakest link. As a result of her being the weakest link, the entire trajectory of the movie somewhat changed. But it was the passing girl that initially it was Mary that was the first sin. She was the first sinner because Mary, who was the white passing girl, right? She was the white passing girl. Do you know how many white women that are in front of you that are passing? You probably didn't even know that they were not what you would consider to be white, right? The pinkies of the world and whatnot. But when it came down to it, her white side took over, and she did some real Karen shit and put everybody in jeopardy. And then she became the agent who infiltrated because they trusted her. But underneath it all, she was game goofy and whatnot, and she sold out, and she was the reason that she brought the whole damn operation down, right? And then she was able to flip the twin, Stack, and turn his ass into a vampire because he was game. He did what? He rested on his laurels because he was supposed to be standing on business. And what got to him? Lust. What got to him? Lust. What did he stand on? He let his lower self get the best of him and got bodied. She went outside to talk to Remick the same way that that white lady tried to talk to the ICE people. The girl in Minnesota, she thought that she was married and got her face blown off, right? She tried to talk to the vampires. All of those liberals trying to hold the line and whatnot, and they gave up and they let ICE into the motherfucking juke joint. All of those white people that say, it's okay, I'll talk to them for you. No, you won't. You can't talk to them for us. Only we can hold the line. And the juke joint, we need to be, when we retreat, when this shit really goes down, when this civil war happens, when this purge happens, when martial law is declared and Mark Rubio and all of these vampires, after they finish sucking the blood from all of these other people, right? And they destroy the defenses of anybody that would ever have come to the aid and to the assistance of their real enemy, of the real Smoking Stack twins, of the really Beji. When they descend on the juke joint, which would be the hood, the ghetto, the box, or whatever the hell you call it these days, when they decide that they want to descend, because what they're doing right now by sacking Venezuela, they're creating more vampires in Venezuela. Don't be confused. Everybody's not against them. That's whoever decides to get bitten by Uncle Sam, to get bitten by Is It Real, to get bitten by the Talmud, to get bitten by McDonald's in America, then they become part of the empire when in Rome. They're recruiting niggas by toppling those governments. They're recruiting because, you know, there's certain civilizations to where once you topple their president, they'll be your quote unquote whore. They will be your quote unquote crash dummy. They would be your wooden soldier, right? Yeah, Smoke didn't send her out. Smoke was on point. He told her, don't go out. She said, what? I got this. Same thing that a white woman was, I got this. No, you don't got this. White woman entertainment, WWE. You don't got this. Tell your Becky to stand down. She don't got this. Tell your Becky to stand down, fam. Respectfully. You know what I'm talking about? She don't got this. You understand? She knows her role. She don't got this. Anytime that happens, my nigga, you getting lined up. Man down. Yeah, you getting lined up. She doesn't have this. Don't fall for it. My nigga, brother, don't do it. Let me get a word from my sponsor.
Why fake people get uncomfortable around you before you ever even say a word? Give me 60 seconds and I'll tell you the truth. Nobody says out loud. Look,
we wasn't finished with this.
Of Southeast Asian folklore. But in fact, Yao, who played Bo in Sinners,
we need a whole Sinners for the Asian community because y'all the Indians. We need a whole Sinners for the Asian community because y'all stole identities. Y'all stole the nationalities. You were in bed with them people. You were in bed. You let them people bite you. You let them people trick you. Stop playing. We need a whole entire Sinners on these agents because they are vampires in black neighborhoods. They are not our fucking allies. They do not help us out. They are vampiring us everywhere that they go. They're selling us cats, nigga. No disrespect, but all of the disrespect. They're selling us plastic. They're selling us toxic shit. What do you mean? Don't ever trust a war with America and China. That is population control. These are the same people, fam. These Siberian niggas, they are down with the greatest crime against humanity. What are we talking about? These are honorary white folk. Yes. They need their own documentary. They need their own Sinners, my nigga, because yes, they got bit by Remick before the Irish. Let's talk about it. Real talk. Look at what's going on. I got Asian friends. What up, Jack? You know what I'm saying? I got Asian friends, but they'll even let you know. They'll even tell you, nah, our people exploit your people. Straight up. Our people will be exploiting your people, and our people have signed deals with the British, with the gringos, with the Americans, and they know that they exploiting y'all. Facts.
was reached out to by the Sinners team to ask him like what iconic figures in Asian culture can we include in that sequence that could be recognizable. Which I think is really awesome that Ryan got the actors' input in this movie. Thank you, Ryan Coogler, for even including us in the Sinners story when you really didn't have to.
They coincidentally don't bring up the melanated Asians that got wiped out when Mao Zedong knocked off 60 million of them. They don't bring that up. They don't bring the ethnic cleansing that took place in motherfucking China, right? When they wiped out the melanated when the Japanese came up in that biatch. They don't talk about that. My Asian friends, they don't give us the hidden books on that. They don't talk about the Falun Gong, why they out there taking people's organs and whatnot. They don't talk about the Han Dynasty. They don't talk about shit that they over there in Africa and in the Caribbean doing. So no, miss me with all of that. I'm not going for that okie doke. Them people need their own Sinners movie. because they're able they're able to infiltrate a lot easier because our people are blindsided. Yeah, all of them is want to be Aryans. They all want to be Aryans. You know? Me no black. So let's go to Brosy. Talk to us, Brosy.
Fake people get uncomfortable around you before you ever even say a word. Give me 60 seconds and I'll tell you the truth. Nobody says out loud. Look, you don't hear what people say, you hear what they actually meant. Chosen ones don't operate on surface level communication. What you're reading is special. It's micro expressions, tone changes, emotional leakage, contradicted intentions, unspoken resentment, hidden agendas. You catch the glitch before the mask even formed. Fake people hate this because their entire personality depends on being misread. You don't give them that luxury. Comment, scroll, and get your scroll scan if this already feels like I'm reading your life. Look, the truth is your presence exposes what they're hiding. Your energy forces people to tell the truth, even when they don't want to. Chosen ones don't expose people by talking. You expose people by existing. Your frequency is too fucking clean. Anything built on ego, manipulation, or performance starts malfunctioning around you. They stutter. They contradict themselves. They over-explain. They avoid eye contact. They suddenly get hostile or distant. It's not because you're intimidating. It's because their false identity cannot survive your field. Your presence is a mirror. They can't stand seeing themselves without the costume. They stay away because you remove their power source. Fake people need one thing to survive: an audience. And you're not it. Fake people thrive on approval, attention, manipulation, emotional hooks, social currency, and you don't give them any of it. You don't feed their ego. You don't fall for their stories. You don't play their social games. You don't let them drain your energy. So what do? They distance themselves. Not because you're too much, but because you're too immune. They can't use you. They can't fool you. They can't siphon you. And worst of all, they can't hide from you. So they avoid you to protect their illusion. Comment, scroll, and get your scroll scan if you're done shrinking your power so fake people can feel comfortable.
Come on, Brosy. Come on, Brosy. You know, there are whole races of people that feel uncomfortable around melanated people. There are whole races of people that feel uncomfortable around our chaos magic. They're uncomfortable around our they can't figure us out. So they would say these people are, we can't figure them out. They're too rowdy. We don't know what they're about to do and whatnot. That's that fake shit. When you on a certain frequency, people know that you can see right through that shit. So just think about that on the highest of levels, as above, so below. Just think about when they see that the whole race, there's a whole generation with eyes open that are seeing through the lies, that are seeing through the falsehood, that are putting the quote unquote Siberian Asians under a lot of pressure by making them prove their claims to these treaties, blowing them up, you know what I mean? Exposing them, washing up powwows and whatnot, shutting down all type of lies that were consistent for a very long time. They're uncomfortable about that. These juice boxes and whatnot, the juice boxes, even in society and whatnot, they're even complaining that the quote unquote the spell that they had over regular people are beginning to fade and shit. People are beginning to see people with the hook noses and the hunchbacks, or they're just beginning to see through the facade. They're beginning to see through all of that fake liberal talk. The democrats are being exposed. People are actually calling them democrats. They're hip to the rules and whatnot. You feel me? Certain things don't work on people anyway. Certain things don't work on people anymore. certain things are not, certain spells are not working on the people. They're pushing back. So yeah, there's a lot of resentment. There's a lot of resentment. You have to always factor in, especially when you see the theater of war, all of these people in the theater of war. Ask yourself, what side would even benefit you in any type of, none of these sides have any benefit. Not the Gulf states. There's no benefactor that they don't have. You don't play into any of their plans. When it comes to the UAE, you already see what they in Africa doing. You already know what they feel about melanated people. You already see how they treat melanated people in their lands and whatnot. You're the glorified help. You know, you're not even the glorified help. You're just the help. They treat the glorified help with a little. The glorified help is the European, is the gringo, it's the Yankee and whatnot. You're not even seen as that. These people, they not excited that niggas are waking up. That the Persians don't care if you waking up. Trump and them don't, they are afraid of that. What do you think the war on woke is? And they were talking all of that shit about a war on woke. What the hell do you think happened post when Charlie got murked and whatnot? When Charlie Kirk got murked, and it just opened up a Pandora's box of conspiracy theory, not consciousness. Keep in mind, the people on the far right are dealing with conspiracy theories. They're not dealing with consciousness. They have not even entered into that realm as of yet. We're just watching millions of them slide down a conspiracy theory slope. That's what all of that shit is. They were on some QAnon shit prior to that. So think about that. They go through their phases and whatnot. They go through their phases. It's a lot of plausible deniability on that side. You never know who's telling the truth, because a lot of them was on David Icke and Alex Jones decades ago, and then they were the same ones acting surprised when they seen Tucker Carlson talk about the Kabbalah and Moloch. They were like, "Oh my goodness, did you hear about Moloch?" Nigga, I read your comment 15 years ago. I remember your fucking handle. What do you mean? You know what I'm saying? That's willful ignorance. I'm not falling for it. Yeah, we was Vikings. I ain't falling for it. It's a rinse and repeat job. They are acting, it's theater with them. It's a lot of theater with them. The propaganda on them, they are all on code. Mind you, they are all on code, and they're holding the door until the purge or the civil war starts. They're just keeping you niggas dumbed down and fake surprise until Trump declares martial law. I promise you, the day he declares martial law, y'all gonna see what I've been saying for the long. You're gonna see them. All of them are gonna transform immediately and become brown shirts. They're all gonna fall right in line and march to the drummer's orders, to the Pied Piper's flute. They know what's happening. They know what's going down. They know that a lot of this shit is literally theater. I don't even trust it. They said the Supreme dude, I don't even trust that he's gone. If you really want to ask, I don't trust. I think they all in a bunker somewhere, and it's all provocation to collapse economies and to start washing niggas up. Facts. You know? This is all, they all acting. It's called the theater of war. Niggas drop bombs every day, B. You know what I'm talking about? They will sacrifice. They'd be like, yo, just destroy shit. Just destroy shit. You could destroy shit. We'll rebuild it. You know what I mean? We got AI. We got 4D printers. You know what I mean? I remember back in the days, dudes on the block would fake fight just so they could get certain people rocking to sleep and then line them up. These are war tactics. Like, remember when you go to places like West Point and they study Hannibal and they study the art of war and shit like that, you know, remember you're dealing with it. This is a propaganda war that you did. This is they said this is the most propagandized war in history, the one that's going on right now. And it just started, and they already said this is the most propagandized war in history. They don't know if BB is gone, but I think that BB shit is all a ruse. I feel that it's all a ruse. I don't trust nothing that I see on some sinner shit. I will not let nobody into the door. Remember, the vampires was playing tricks on them niggas. The vampires was playing mind tricks on my mans in them, right? So these vampires are playing tricks so you could let them in. What's letting them in? Going to war. You niggas signing up to be G.I. Joe. Or just giving them the energy and saying, get them, boys. That's enough. That's a contract right there. Get them, boys. When you say us, when you say we bombed them or we did something, yeah, that's a contract. Let me explain to you that we are not the same. Scientifically, biologically, nobody on the planet, if they don't got the melanin, they not fucking with us. Check this out.
So eumelanin is the black and brown pigment in darker skinned people, and pheomelanin is like the yellowy red pigment in lighter skinned people. Obviously, black people have a lot more eumelanin and white people have a lot more pheomelanin. And I just want to leave this right here. The main difference between eumelanin and pheomelanin is that pheomelanin contains sulfur and eumelanin does not contain sulfur, okay? One thing that we know about sulfur is that in its compound form, it smells like rotten eggs. Another thing about sulfur in its compound form is that it smells especially rotten when it gets wet.
Who ever drank water with the sulfur in it smell like rotten eggs? Who's ever been exposed to the sulfur, right, in the water? Because I was getting water from Sulphur Springs, right? I was getting water from the Sulphur Springs out here in Atlanta. It smelled like rotten eggs. Okay? That well water smelled like rotten eggs, right? Indian Springs water, right? Smells like rotten eggs because it got that sulfur in it. Who smells like that when they get wet? Respectfully. And I'm not, shit. I'm just being a scientist tonight. I'm on my build a scientist. Or what was the name? Was it Bob the Scientist? What? Dr. Africa talks about that. Right? So yellow journalism, people with that yellow melanin, right? They don't have, we are not the same. They know that we are not the same. They're not about to hand this shit over to nobody who is not the same as them. Let's just get it through our thick skulls. Like, that's not about to happen. And they're not about to just be nice with, they're not about to play nice with you. They're not about to lay up with you and give you the keys to the city. Yeah, I'm Bill Nye, the science guy tonight. This is just what Bill taught me. Hey, Bill. Respectfully. Shout out to the sister, beautiful sister, dropping that well-needed information on us. That science, right? We need more science. We need more science.
I just talked to Black Sham the other day.
The first thing is the killing floor. We first see when smoke.
Did you guys know that Netanyahu graduated from high school?
You know there is a Chinese.
All right, let's go and check out something.
Some of us don't even realize.
Everybody keeps asking, why do Latinos consistently align themselves with whiteness?
So
Keeps asking why.
While we're on the case, while we're on the case about the melanin deficient, while we're on the case about people confused about, especially those that got melanin, about what this is about, for people who don't realize that this shit is about the have and the have nots. What are the haves? The haves are those who are, like Dr. Francis Cress Welsing broke it down, those of us who come from not only an abundant environment, but we are abundant in our melanin, in our quote unquote, we are not recessive and whatnot. So check this out. There are people around the world right now that are completely underneath a spell because they have been put to sleep by Remick, by the vampires. They have been willingly been bitten and whatnot. They've been bitten by the religion. They've been bitten by the culture. They've been bitten by the lies, right? That is a form of what you would call vampirism, and it would be a form of, when people are removing the parasites. The parasites come in the form of ideas and concepts. It's similar to malware that people have on their computers, worms and whatnot that compromise your motherboard. Well, that's what prejudices are. That's what quote unquote falsehoods are. That's what some of these religions and shit are. That's what outdated mandates or outdated, the outdated programs that are running with people. All of that shit is malware. It's all poison. It is all glitchable. That's why so many people are glitching right now. They're running off of defunct programs. They did not upgrade and update their operating system. Remember, we went from 3D to 5D, my genius. We have upgraded. We have leveled up. There's a way to move after shit like that happens. There's a way to move after upgrades happen and whatnot. You can't move like an iPhone 2 when you are iPhone 12. It just don't work like that. So yeah, we got to clean up the whole world. We got the mop and the broom right now and whatnot. That our responsibility while this shit goes apart is we the janitors of this bitch. We coming to mop you niggas up. Everybody gets cleaned up. Okay, we had to endure. We was getting flushed on. We had to endure. Now it's our turn. We the toxic Avengers with the mop and the broom, my nigga. We cleaning these niggas up. Latin America, you're next.
Everybody keeps asking, why do Latinos consistently align themselves with whiteness? Well, there is a historical reason for that, and we're going to get into it. All of this starts in Latin America and the Caribbean during colonization. At this time, in that region, there were 3 major human trafficking organizations: the British, the French, and the Spanish. They all had colonies in Latin America and the Caribbean, and they were all engaging in human trafficking, aka slavery. But the 3 countries had very different approaches to how they organized society. The British were known to be the harshest of the human traffickers in this region. Under British colonial rule, there were strict and rigid racial boundaries. Basically, there was the white people and the non-white people, and that was it. There was no mobility between the two. If you were born enslaved, you were probably gonna die enslaved. And the British were also known for being the most brutal traffickers out of them all. Then you have the French. They weren't as brutal as the British, and they weren't as rigid in their racial boundaries, but they were rigid as well. You can see here the caste system from Haiti, which was then known as Saint-Domingue.
Remember the brutish Moors. Not the British, but the brutish Moors, y'all. Remember that.
Essentially 3 classes here: white people, colored people, and slaves. And as you can see, the white people are split up into the Grand Blanc, which are the wealthy planters, and the Petit Blanc, which are the merchants and the officials. And you have the gens de couleur. They are separated by free people by virtue of having white parentage, aka mixed people, and then free people who purchased their freedom. And lastly, you got the black people who are enslaved. So as you can see here, there's more stratification of their racial classification than
None of this victim-minded slavery narrative. You can't get behind it. She's loud and wrong. See? Why she gotta be loud? The minute a melanated woman get on this channel and she got anything to say, she's loud and wrong. I really want to get to the bottom of that. Like, why? So, are you affected by her truth? Is her giving the history? This is a history because, to be honest with you, if I spoke Spanish, I would be speaking the truth about everything that happened to Spanish people every day in my language, in my tongue. There should be people speaking that Spanish language, hitting drums and tambourines, telling the truth every fucking day because everybody needs to hear it. There should be a nigga in the Bronx on the corner of goddamn Amsterdam with a bullhorn instead of talking about Jesus. He needs to be telling the people what the fuck happened with these conquistadors every single day. Especially if a nigga's over here in America, where wherever people come from that speak Spanish, that is in America, wherever you come from, them gringos is over there with their foot up your ass. And it's nothing good. Wherever you come from, there's nothing good happening over there with the gringos. How they doing, y'all people? Fuck is you talking about? Y'all got the nerve to fix y'all lips. People, I don't know who y'all is, but people got the nerve and the caucasity and the audacity to fix their fucking lips to talk out the side of their necks about the morenos, about the negritos. They got everything to say. They got names for us, but they will not talk about this gringo every single day. It's no days off with us. It's no days off with us. So if we don't have that type of allyship, if you niggas don't feel compelled to bust your gun in that minimum sense, that's just some minimum shit. Y'all not even on that type of time. So what the fuck do you want from us? We can't even tell our truth without niggas getting offended. And then when it's a black woman, goddamn, you need Brosie O'Donnell to talk to you niggas? But like I said, when I went to Latin America, what they call Al Andalus, and I went and I was on the medicine and I was in the spirit realm, it told me the most respected person in all of what they misnomer Latin America, South America, is the fucking black woman, is Big Mama, is what they call grandma. Okay? Oshun, my nigga. That's who gets stepped on the most out there. And they're the ones that want to talk. They're the ones that been crying. They're the ones that are crying so much that it flooded that shit. Burst the fucking dams, my nigga. There was delusions of floods. That's how much crying. They got our women in Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, Bolivia, Panama, Costa Rica, Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba. Nah. Oh, we not even hating on our Spanish brothers. It's love over here. Like, we just standing on our truth. And if a nigga can't stand in that sunlight, then your melanin is not activated.
And in the British colonies, which were essentially white and non-white, there was some porousness between racial distinctions, but ultimately it was still very rigid in the French colonies, and what you were born into is what you would die into. Social mobility, upward mobility really wasn't a thing, which is part of the reason why the Haitian Revolution started. And now for the Spanish colonial system. This is the caste system of Latin America. As you can see, there are so many different categories that you can be placed into. It is not the binary white or non-white that you see in British colony. And it is much more complex than what you see in French colony caste systems. And that's because the Spanish had a very porous racial boundary system. The Spanish were much more flexible.
So there's whole new races of people that have been created in the last few hundred years. I feel that we should know about that. Cause y'all been watching movies about us. Y'all know about, yeah, you know, a bunch of people have been experts on us. So why we can't explore your history? Why can't we explore what happened in these lands? Because people from these lands are intricately tied in to us. They're borrowing our culture. They're running with our culture. The fuck you mean? We're living amongst them. We're intertwined. There's wars and jails with these niggas. There's entire world wars with these people behind the wall. You could get killed fucking around. So I feel that there's a lot of misinformation. Everybody been lied to. I think if the Latin brothers and sisters learned about their Moorish ancestry, the Olmecs and shit like that, mother civilization, the La Razas, they have more respect. There'll be some more respect when it's discovered that Mexico and these lands were actually founded, the same lands that people live in right now. You know, our fingerprints is all behind that. We gotta get that respect back. The respect is not there. And motherfuckers is leaning on the fake slave narrative to not give us our respect, to not give us the fucking prop.
Who graduated?
You know what I mean? To not give us what is ours. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. We just getting started. You know what I mean? We just getting started.
Book, They Were Her Property, that challenged the idea that white women were rarely or passively involved in the slave trade. And the question was always, how many white women was it? Well, a student this year decided to answer that question. A student from Ohio State University paired up with a professor, did research, and found the numbers. And we'll get to that in a second. But also the person that wrote this article, a journalist, decided to do some more research on their own. And they found that a group of Catholic nuns who were praised for decades for helping to educate Black children were actually not even educating them, and we're selling them to pay off debts and expand their school. Let's get started and learn something new. So Professor Trevor D. Logan and the student Benton Wishart did some research from just 1856 to 1861, just in 5 years. And they found that white women engaged in nearly a third of the sales and purchases of enslaved people in New Orleans, which was home to the nation's largest slave market at the time. I also found that in New Orleans between 1856 and 1861, white women participated in nearly 40% of the transactions involving Black women. I decided to take it to the 1830s. And remember, this is just New Orleans only. White women accounted for about 16% of the purchases and sales of enslaved Black people in New Orleans. They also found another analysis of runaway slave advertisements between 1853 and 1860, which were compiled by a Black abolitionist, that found that white women were listed as owners more than 10% of the time. Now, Professor Logan and the student Benton fully credit Stephanie E. Jones-Rogers and her extensive research. She's an historian at the University of California, and she wrote the book, They Were Her Property, and released it in 2019. And she is fully thanking them for finally getting the numbers, because every time she had to talk about this book, people always question, well, was it that many? How many white women was it? And now we're going to get to the nuns who sold these children. Now, the nuns were called the Georgetown Visitation Sisters, and they founded the Georgetown Visitation Preparatory School in Washington, D.C., one of the nation's oldest Roman Catholic girls' schools. For more than a decade, its founders were hailed on the school's website for running a free institution and for their generosity of spirit for teaching enslaved girls. But several years ago, the school's archivist and historian began digging in the archives. She found no evidence that the nuns had taught enslaved children to read or write. Instead, she discovered that the sisters had enslaved at least 107 Black men, women, and children. And in a report released in 2018, the school reported that the sisters sold dozens of those people to pay debts to help finance the expansion of their school and the construction of a new chapel. In fact, nearly all of the orders of Catholic sisters established by the late 1820s enslaved people. Nothing else to do than to dispose of the family of Negroes. Mother Agnes Brent, the superior of the Georgetown Visitation Sisters, wrote in 1821 as she approved the sale of a couple and their 2 young children. The enslaved woman was just days away from giving birth to her 3rd child. Of course, we're not shocked by any of these numbers, but one of the historians said it's good to actually have numbers. They help us to attach something resembling specifics to what we're actually talking about. And this last paragraph sums up the last month. Dr. Jones Rogers believes the research also helps to explain why many white Southern women romanticized slavery and supported the system of racial segregation that emerged after the Civil War and now, a system that helped ensure that their families could continue to benefit from a plentiful supply of low-cost Black labor. They choose white supremacy because they see it as economically advantageous. I hope you learned something new.
So I don't want to hear too much of anything when it comes to these white women tears, right? No disrespect to what's taking place, but I'm not, I'm just too real to go with the okie doke. We know what we know what was happening. We know what's happening now. We know what's been happening, and we know what's gonna happen in the future. Okay, so we not falling for it. Cut the check, sock it to my pocket. Other than that, there's literally nothing that could be done. You feel me? Because you'll always be looked at with high suspicion. I mean, you are the factory in which shit is getting made from. It's white women entertainment. All of this sacking of Cuba, the taking of Venezuela, the war in Iran. Who's benefiting from that? Is it white men? Who's locked in? I bet you when they show you the demographics of who's watching it on Fox 5, it's not white men. It's not white men alone. They're having fake meltdowns and whatnot. They're acting like they're fake surprised. Who are they entertaining? Who are they putting on for? You know what I mean? Do you know he just appointed Erica Kirk to the Air Force? Gave her a role. America Kirk is now on team. Huh? Who are they doing all of this for? I want to know. I want to know.
Is the killing floor.
Because it's not white men. That's not who they're doing this for.
All of these men who founded Hollywood were born within a 500.
This is the traditional clothing of people who live in.
Some of us don't even realize.
From the very beginning, the vampires for me were a con.
Let's go talk. Let's tap into some more of the sinners. Let's tap into the sinners, y'all.
Beginning, the vampires for me were a conduit only to tell a much larger story.
He's not wrong. Sinners isn't really about vampires. It's about identity, culture, and survival. And the vampires are just the way the movie makes those ideas visible. One of the smartest things the film does is connect horror to blues music. Blues isn't just background in the movie. It represents history, pain, and legacy. That music came out of struggle. It carries the stories of people who had to turn suffering into something meaningful. So when the film drops vampires into that world, the symbolism becomes really powerful because vampires survive by feeding on others. And that mirrors something very real in history. The way Black culture has often been consumed, copied, and exploited by outside forces. Suddenly, the horror isn't just about monsters attacking people. It's about something coming into a community and trying to take from it without understanding or respecting it. The film also plays with temptation. In a lot of vampire stories, the threat isn't just violence. It's the invitation to join them, to become part of what they are. And that raises a bigger question in Sinners. What do people lose when they give up pieces of themselves just to survive or to be accepted? That's the tension running through the whole movie. Holding on to identity while something powerful is trying to pull you away from it. That's why the community matters so much in the film. the music, the relationships, the shared spaces. When the vampires enter that world, it feels like an invasion of something sacred. The threat isn't just physical, it's cultural and spiritual. The vampires represent forces that drain energy, creativity, and history from the people who created them. That's the bigger story Delroy Lindo is talking about.
Interesting. Right? So those vampires are what we see. Okay? Those vampires are what we see in society right now. Right? That's what we were talking about when we were talking about some of these people who act like they're our friends, that they understand our plight, that they are in alignment with us. Right? So many people have fallen for that. So many people have been duped by that. You know what I'm talking about? So many organizations have been infiltrated and toppled from within by letting the remix in. We got to understand what exactly that looks like, what that means. Okay? We really do. Let's continue.
Don't even realize that when we're having fun and enjoying ourselves, we're playing right into the hands of the devil. And in this movie, it shows you how when you are in pain, when you need to relax, when you're looking for some pleasure or some joy art, you start entertaining behaviors that lower your frequency. You want to go and do what when you're not feeling good? I want to go get something to drink. I want to go smoke. I want to go listen to some music. I want to go dance. And so in the nightclub art, this movie shows you how the behavior in the nightclub is not much different than the behavior of demonic forces during their rituals. In the black nightclub or any nightclub, what do you have? You have people lusting with each other, people dancing lustily with each other. You got people getting drunk. You got people getting high. You got people engaging in gossip and low frequency speech. And you got people listening to music that is not divine. Those same ingredients are what the devil uses to lure people into his trap and separate you from your soul.
Talk about it. You know? Interesting take, especially in lieu of this conversation going on about Magic City and the NBA, right? Very interesting take, especially in lieu of the conversation going on about Magic City and the NBA, right? Which could be seen as stripper culture in the NBA, or what you would call hoe culture in the NBA. Okay? Along with this whole declaring that the streets is dead and people are not going out anymore. You know, people not going out anymore. People not giving their energy to the clubs anymore. People not being caught up in that quote unquote lifestyle anymore. People not drinking anymore, right? People beginning to go into religions and other things, spirituality and whatnot, you know, going deeper within themselves, right? That is what you're seeing a lot of. Okay? That's what you're seeing a lot of. So these people want your attention. They want to scare you. They want to put you in fear. They want to draft you. They want to throw you into war and whatnot. This is exactly what it is that they're planning to do. Henceforth, why they're making all of these weird moves and whatnot, I would tell you, get 1 foot ahead of that, right? Get 1 foot ahead of that and don't allow no bullshit like that to you know, to don't get ensnared in any one of these operations. Don't get ensnared in none of this propaganda. Don't get ensnared in what we would call a trap, because that's exactly what this is. They have set a trap. These are traps that are being set. Please know what you're looking at when you're looking at it. You feel me? Please know what you're looking at when you're looking at it. Big ass trap. Do not get caught up in what you call trap music, y'all. You feel me? Don't die for Netanyahu, my nigga. Okay? Look at what they're over there doing. Look at the people that they're attacking. Look at the people that they're bombing. I told you before, this is a spiritual war. You don't want your spirit to be tied into their spiritual war. You don't want, this is a biblical, this is an Armageddon war, ladies and gentlemen. Are you built like that to fight an Armageddon war? You don't even have a pony in that race. You're not a part of that quote unquote narrative in a sense. So you want to go and fight a Armageddon, a spiritual war, a mystical war? Huh? Check this out.
Traditional clothing of people who live near the Strait of Hormuz, one of the areas in Iran being heavily targeted by the US and Israel during this despicable war. And interestingly enough, these really unique masks were actually designed as defense against attacking armies. Known sometimes as borage and sometimes as batula, they come in two different types. One, a fabric type of rectangle usually worn by Shiite women, worn here in a market in Minab, the city where the US bombed that girls' school. The second is worn more by Sunni Muslim women, like those being worn here on the island of Keshem, where it is quite possible that the US has bombed a water desalination plant, thus cutting off water access for about 30 villages. Hi, I'm Isabella. I talk about anti-authoritarian folk art history, so like and follow for more if you want to hear more about that kind of thing. But for now, back to the story. These masks aren't simply for religious purposes. They're also a deep part of the singular culture and history of this area, which also has blood red beaches and rainbow valleys, something that our commander-in-chief obviously couldn't care less about. Some say that the Shiite variety, in addition to being protection against the sun, was designed in the 16th century so young women and girls could cover their faces and hide from Portuguese enslavers. The Sunni variety, on the other hand, may have been designed to make women look like they were wearing armor, either to trick invading armies so at a distance they thought that the villages were filled with soldiers, or simply to just look really intimidating. Of course, war is waged very differently these days. From thousands of feet in the air, you can't see exactly who you're killing. And while we do in fact have the capability of attacking with extreme precision, when we're bombing islands just for fun, well, I think that speaks for itself.
They got the Deadpool mask on and whatnot. I mean, you know, these look like some mystical people. You feel me? I don't know what level of mysticism, but they're clearly practicing something that's a part of their custom, okay? And it's not Christianity. You know, it's definitely something that goes a little bit deeper than that, right? But that's they bombed, that's where they bombed all of those little girls inside of the school. Those were the children. Those were the ones who would probably grow up to be some of these people. So sometimes when they're bombing these areas and they're doing their rituals to Moloch and whatnot, and they're doing it to virgins, spiritual virgins, mystical virgins, little Harry Potters and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, just pay attention to how they do their quote unquote sacrifices and their rituals, right? Just keep in mind. And while we're talking about sinners, and while we're talking about the awards, and while we're talking about the Oscars, let's always keep in mind that we're still talking about Hollywood, and we're still talking about these demons, and we're still talking about these people that are still spellcasters, right? And they're still highly compromised. Okay. So while we don't really celebrate the quote unquote, we're not here to celebrate what the what these people are doing in their award shows, we still want to give respect and honors to the brothers for what it is that they've done. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. But let's always do the history on Holly Weird and let's always stand on top of creating a new version of it. We're not running to Hollywood. You know, shout out to the brothers for what they did, but we need Ryan Coogler to come and teach our brothers and sisters how to make AI movies, or how to make movies and use lower what cameras to use. Some of those tricks that we need to learn, so some of us could take these budgets and make these films without Hollywood studio oversight, so we don't have to wait 25 to 30 years to get our masters back. Yeah, that shit is, we're not doing that. Okay. So yeah, Firebun Hollywood.
Of these men who founded Hollywood were born within a 500-mile radius of one another.
A very small minority began to dream about Palestine. Very small numbers of people became Zionists. You needed a great deal of ideological dexterity to talk yourself into getting on a boat and going to Palestine at the turn of the century. The vast majority of Jews, 2 million out of 2.5 million, who left Eastern Europe went to America.
At the turn of the century, movies reflected the vision of America shared by Thomas Edison and the other men who invented the film industry.
Please watch the documentary Empire of Their Own. You will learn so much, not just about Hollywood, about everything. I didn't even know Thomas Edison was the one who really first popped off the moving pictures, but it gives you the history of all of these major studios and these families, where they came from, mostly New Yorkers, fur dealers. They had something called Nickelodeons and Vaudevilles, right? They were doing silent theater, Nickelodeons were like adult films and shit like that. And then they got chased out of New York. They got ran up out of there. Thomas Edison was on time. He packed them up. He ran them to the West Coast and whatnot. And then they set up inside of an orange grove called Hollywood.
These men who founded Hollywood were born within a 500-mile radius of one another.
A very small minority began to dream about Palestine. Very small numbers of people.
So Eastern Europeans who came over here, they came over here on boats. They came over here as migrants. They came over here as immigrants. They came over here with lice. They came over here with in poverty. They didn't come over here with riches. They came over here with nothing, with nada, with burlap cloths. We're not talking about during the Depression. We're talking about the same time people was wrapped in gold. We're talking about the same time the melanated people who was allegedly in slavery had oil wealth. They had oil wealth at that time. They was wearing bespoke suits and driving T-model cars, right? Women had furs on. We had baddies. Facts. Go ask your great-grandfather. You know? So they came over here and they put them in the ghetto. You know? That's what they did.
Became Zionists. You needed a great.
These people had the audacity to depict us in blackface. They had the audacity to show us as coons, buffoons, tomfoolery, right? They had us doing that Meek Mill shit, bunny hopping. They used us as a stepping stone and whatnot to glorify, to beautify, and to propagandize a very bloody America at that time, a very dark America, a very savage America. It was these Hollywood studios that cleaned them up. It was the Hollywood studios that created this illusion of quote unquote Main Street, the white picket fence, what we would call now the simulacra. Okay, the simulacra, or what you would call the simulation. It was Hollywood that helped to do that. They created this quote unquote simulation. They created these layers of falsehoods. And then when Walt Disney came along with Disney World, he came out with the blueprint on how to apply that film shit into real life. So he took something from the REEL world and brought it into the REA world. He created Main Street. He created the suburbs. He created the mall. He created the supermarket and all of these other things. That's Walt Disney, my nigga. Yeah, Epcot Center and all of that. Yeah, like he was creating a false reality in real time, but it was kicked off by these wizards and warlocks, right? With the Babylonian wizards, these were Kabbalists, these were quote unquote, they were utilizing the moving picture, they were utilizing some high science that comes with the camera, that comes with film, that comes with lighting, that comes with sound. We talking Wizard of Oz, Dorothy. We talking Wizard of Oz. They tapped into that.
Great deal of ideological dexterity to talk yourself into getting on a boat and going to Palestine at the turn of the century. The vast majority of Jews, 2 million out of 2.5 million who left Eastern Europe, went to America.
At the turn of the century, movies reflected the vision of America shared by Thomas Edison and the other men who invented the film industry. The films presented negative images of hook-nosed Jews, blacks, and others. They championed an idea of America where the white upper classes ruled and immigrants knew their place. The highest artistic achievement of pre-Jewish American cinema was the box office hit Birth of a Nation by D.W. Griffith. The explicitly racist story glorified the Ku Klux Klan and played on white America's fear of racial intermixing. Edison's trust would lose its monopoly in the courts, but in 1912, to escape Edison and the goons he sent to enforce his control of the industry, the future moguls headed west to the orange groves of California. Here they found immediate success.
In 1915, Carl Laemmle had decided to open a very large plant in the valley north of Hollywood, which they called Universal City, a gigantic facility that includes all necessities for designing films, building sets, photographing them, editing them, costuming them. It was, the first movie-making city in the world.
75% of all Americans went to the movies at least once a week. Actors became the gods and goddesses of the new American religion. So the studio heads began a movie guild with a lofty title of the Academy of Motion.
American gods. American gods. This is how America becomes Americana. This is how America becomes a religion. American gods. That Oscar show. American, we're dealing with a new religion. Them sticks made of holly.
Picture, arts, and sciences. It was Mayer's brilliant idea to create the Oscars. The Hollywood Jews may have wanted to marry into white America, but when it came to music, Jewish composers looked to black America.
The indigenous African-American culture was of tremendous interest. I mean, the music, the dancing, the popular styles.
The original remix. Let's be clear. The original remix. This is who Remick is. They could not give it away and be so blatant. They couldn't be too blatant and throw a goddamn Yahudi a juice box in the middle of the Mississippi Delta.
Jews served as messengers, in essence, of black culture. They took it, they consumed it, they integrated it into their own cultural repertoire, and then introduced it to white America that was essentially willing to listen to Jews, partake of what Jews had to offer in a way that they never would from blacks.
Needing some kind of redemption through America, the Jews took these themes, but instead of putting them to Jewish music, they borrowed black forms that they saw as authentically American. In a sense, they wrote music in blackface. They even hid their Jewishness from their children and grandchildren.
So listen, when you talk about exploitation, when you talk about the middleman who basically he used his middlemanness to take over, when you talk about people who have studied us for time immemorial, because if they stole your identity, you think they're not studying you every day? You think they don't know more about you than you might know about yourself? You think they have not figured this shit the F out? You think somebody didn't pass a whole library of books to them about us and was like, keep that to yourself, keep that on the low, but study them niggas, figure them out, and then reverse their destiny, swap them at all turns, at all junctures, you make sure you swap them out, right? All the way to the fact where niggas don't even know that BB is from Philly. BB from Philly. All right? That's a Philly nigga doing that, and is it real? Okay? He was amongst us. That BB nigga, BB Metayahu was amongst our people. He was locked in the hood.
You know that Netanyahu graduated from high school in Philadelphia?
Yeah, he was born and raised in Philadelphia. And one of the reasons you probably won't be able to find his name is because his name was not Netanyahu when he lived in America. His name was Milakowski. His father's name is Benzion Milakowski. His father emigrated from Poland to America. His father's brother, blood brother, same mom, same dad.
Oh my goodness. Wait till y'all hear this one. Wait till you hear this one. Go get your I need my fact checkers. Go and check this one out. Not just the fact that he's from Philly. Check this out right here.
Emigrated to Argentina. His father had Benjamin, and Benjamin changed his name from Milakowski to Netanyahu. His father's brother had a son named Javier. Javier changed his name from Javier Milakowski to Javier Milei. Benjamin Netanyahu is now the Prime Minister of Israel, while his cousin, his father's brother's son, is the President of Argentina.
Bro. The nigga who was on stage and gave Elon Musk a golden chainsaw, who is in Argentina, and they just burnt Patagonia. Which is one of the seven wonders on this planet, y'all. They just let the juice boxes burn a large contingency of Argentina, and they have a rule on the books that you can't basically get Patagonia, but the one thing, if it's burnt, you can. So while they destroy Is It Real, right? Because Is It Real is being decimated right now. So while Is It Real is being decimated because, people are just, you know what I mean? That, the bully got punched in his nose and whatnot. The bully, like Christmas, remember Christmas Tale? remember the movie when my nigga Ralphie punched the bully in his nose and wilded him up, and then after that it was over for him. The bully was a wrap. It was over for the bully, right? That's what just happened. They getting punched in their nose and whatnot. So them going to Argentina or Latin America is gonna be safer than them being stuck right there in God's land. Yeah, that's a wrap. They have abandoned that right there. That right there. This right here. This shit right here. This shit right here. This shit right here. Once the system fail, once that Iron Dome shit stop working, oh no, it's over, Hova. You know what I mean? Them hypersonic missiles start hitting that bitch up. You thought BB had 6 fingers before. Shit. You thought he had 6 fingers before, my nigga. It's really going down. But yeah, they maneuvering, man. They moving. Check this out.
Is surrounded and screwed. You have to understand that one of our biggest strategies has been neutralizing Brazil. Most South American countries now have a pro-American right-wing government. This has been a big part of Trump's new doctrine to ensure that the Western Hemisphere is ruled by the United States. But Brazil has always posed a problem. Ever since the ousting of Bolsonaro, Brazil has been a leftist government that has anti-US sentiment. And you have to understand that a lot of South American countries make their money from the cartels. And what Trump is doing is getting rid of the cartels completely, and he's doing that through a right-wing coalition of governments, leaving Brazil to be the last government holding out on cartels, at least in South America. And yes, of course, it so happens that Brazil is the B in BRICS, which is trying to compete against the US dollar. And Brazil's elections are this year, 2026. So you can absolutely expect Brazil to go through some shit this year.
So once again, they're using the cover of this fake narco shit, right? Once again, they're using the F-boy, Rubio, right? Who is basically a super puppet for Is It Real? And he's a puppet for the Trumpians and whatnot. But they want to take South America as a gift for Is It Real? So they could run that entire region right there. Okay. They want to run that entire region right there. The same way that they snuck up in Argentina. So they are, they got Mexico is a juice box. BB, his people is in Argentina, as you just saw. His cousin is running shit. Even Colombia, they're bending Colombia's arm a little bit, and Colombia is kind of like, they're not folding and whatnot, but Trump is trying to invade. He's trying to do a soft invasion, or rather, he's trying to quote unquote, he's just basically trying to put his hands in their pockets, right? So yeah, all of that is you know what I mean? And a lot of that got to do with the fact that these look, the whole shit stolen as it is. It's all stolen. It's all stolen. So just somebody stealing something from somebody that already stole some shit. Okay. But this is the people that we dealing with right here. I want y'all to understand these are these vampires. Check this out. This is the level of depravity with these people. And this is the shit that has a lot of people around the world in fear. Their reputation precedes them, right? This demonic this what they would call the boots on the ground, right? But before the boots get on the ground, the alphabet boys, they spread terror. The alphabet boys spread terror because the alphabet boys, the 3-letter organizations, they don't abide by the same rules that they have to abide by with the Javina Convention. They don't abide by the same rules. They don't answer to the same chain of command that the armed forces do. Henceforth, while the contractors or the private militaries were going crazy in the Middle East and whatnot, like Blackwater and shit like that, because they didn't have the same kind of chain of command. They didn't even have to go through. They had a kill chain that was way shorter than the kill chain of a regular infantry and whatnot, right? But the CIA, okay, the shit that they've done in the past 50 years, right, is going to accrue a lot of karma. That's why I be telling people you got to be very careful about your alignments. But this is what they do when they catch up to niggas. Make sure they don't catch up to you.
CIA extract secrets from prisoners. First, prisoners are kept in freezing cells at 10 degrees Celsius while being regularly soaked with cold water. Then they are taken to the music cell, where nightclub music is played for 24 hours straight. Next comes the light cell, where bright lights are shined directly at the prisoner. Once these 3 tasks are complete, the confused and exhausted prisoner is interrogated. If there is a refusal to cooperate, stress positions are used, where detainees are forced to hold painful poses. If they fall asleep, electrical shocks are used to wake them up. Finally, prisoners are waterboarded with a cloth over their face to mimic the sensation of drowning. Former CIA officer John Kiriakou was imprisoned for 2.5 years for exposing this information.
Yeah. And people don't play fair. Yo, Boys, talk to us, boys.
500,000 black men have lost their jobs in the last 4 months. Black women are right up there too. Several 100,000 black women have lost their jobs. Let's talk about that and let's figure out what this actually means. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm a finance professor. Give me 3 minutes and I'm going to break this down for you in a way that hopefully will expand your thinking when it comes to what's going on in the economy, how to adjust. I've been telling you guys for years that AI is going to wipe out everything. AI is here. Before it was like it's coming. No, now it's here. For years, I've been telling students in the Black Business School. We have about 300,000 students now. Most of them are in there for free. You can join for free. Basically, I've said that AI is going to wipe out so many jobs, and I've been telling them to invest in AI-related companies. If you put the word stock in the comments, I'll send you a list of my favorite AI stocks. But it goes even deeper than that. This economy is not just shifting, but it was one that was never really built for you. It was never built for your son, your daughter, your grandkids, nobody. So ultimately, what's really happening here is you're having kind of another type of purge that has occurred many, many times throughout history. One of the things I know about economics, my PhD's in finance, let's not forget this, is that you can't really succeed economically, close any racial wealth gaps or anything, or even have any form of economic power if you are solely dependent upon others to create opportunities for you. That's like only being able to eat food if somebody else cooks for you, grows the food for you, and transports it to your house. You will starve if they decide not to bring you the food. So the same people who have the ability to feed you are the ones who have the ability to starve you. So what the black community needs to do, and the whole black community ain't going to do this, it's going to be the smart ones. So the smart folks out here that are listening, this is what I encourage you to understand. You have to understand and make sure your kids are trained on what it means to build systems. When you talk about being disenfranchised, which millions of black men and black women are disenfranchised, I've been disenfranchised. I've been a loudmouth black man for a long time now. Disenfranchisement does not mean that you don't have a place where you can belong. Disenfranchisement means that there is a system or a place where you are not allowed. So if somebody says you can't come in my house, then I am disenfranchised from their house. But that does not mean I don't have a place to live. So ultimately, what we've got to do is train millions of our kids to create spaces where we can economically live, create spaces where jobs can be created, create spaces where we can make investments, create spaces where we develop our own ecosystem.
My question to everybody in the chat would be this. For the past 6 years, right? Because the conversation about black empowerment was very strong from the voices of the voices. From about 2020 to 2026, we have the whole Atlanta movement, Invest Fest, the EYL movement, all of the people on jets, all of the people that were on foreign islands, niggas moved to Puerto Rico. There's $3 million in cash that they were buying these facilities. What do y'all think in those 6 years, right? Because, you know, in hindsight, I was actually doing some research. I put the AI to kind of like go and look for some of the organizations that are out here teaching men and women how to, you know, not just how to make money. I was looking to see who's making money. Like I wanted to see where were the case studies of the success rates? Like what is the numbers? Where's the data? And I couldn't find anything. I really could not find a thing. I couldn't find any type of programs that any one of these communities have spearheaded that lives to today that has grown. I have not seen that. What happened to all of the finance people? I mean, you had a room full of people with 800 credit. Everybody had 800 credit. Like, what was built other than the hookah lounge? I want to know. And it's not just in Atlanta. There's black people everywhere. So I just might not be in the algorithm. I just might not be in touch with what's happening in PG County or in DC. Even when we doing a roll call, even when we doing all of these shows, I just might be overlooking some of the comments in the chat where people are like, yo, I just came from a convention where it was thousands of us talking about, you know, exchanging information, building, and I heard hundreds of success stories. Like, where is that? Where are the people that have 100? Where's the people that are making 100 apps a month? Where are the people that are making $100,000 off of their services and their quote unquote products, right? As a collective, not individually, but as a collection, and is solution based. Where are those people at? Where's the black press at? Did some of these podcasters have helped to finance? Where did they put their money into any marketplaces? Could we find any marketplaces that were built in Atlanta at the hands of the HIM 500s and all of these niggas that were on the jets and they were inside of the department stores showing the receipts about the shoes that they bought? Are there marketplaces in any of these cities that got built? Because you know the vendors that I paid 10,000 at the Invest Fest, and I had a billionaire walk past me. And then not only did the black billionaire walk past me, he walked past me and turned around and looked at me in my face like he wanted to wrestle or something. Like he looked at me like he was from the streets, right? And I just was smiling and waving and whatnot. The nigga looked, this is a billionaire. He didn't even know. He must have picked up on a telepathic telegram. And I was like, how are you a billionaire and you're not walking around in your bag? And what I mean by in your bag, you're supposed to have 20 people holding bags for you. Because if you're a billionaire, the minute you walk into a place with melanated, my nigga, we had $10,000 booths, $5,000 booths, $2,500 booths. The setups of the booths were immaculate. These are all businesses. This nigga's not buying nothing from nobody. We don't want to take a picture with a billionaire, nigga. That didn't pay back for the booth. I can't sell that on a hot market, nigga. What are we doing? I could use you holding up a product though, Mr. Billionaire. So my thing is this: where's the markets? These niggas do market Mondays. What market are y'all built? What market did y'all build? They got a master list of small businesses. Where's the market? Why is the market only once a year? And y'all talking about finances, but these are businesses that need a motherfucking market. The white people got the indie market. They got the farmers market. You know what I'm talking about? God damn it, Magic Mondays got the flesh market. None of these people got markets for us. They don't got a market in New York. They don't got a market in DC. They don't got a market in Atlanta. They don't got a market in Houston. What the fuck? And it's millions of us. But niggas is at the rodeo. Shorties is out there fighting at the rodeo. They got time for spring break. All of the folly. They addicted to that folly. They in follies throwing investment money, my niggas, on Moreland. They in follies letting that shit go. We still got swap meets. Yeah, the fuck? We still got swap meets. We still got, niggas still got swap meets. What are we talking about? These are billionaires and they're not having billion-dollar conversations with their own people. These are millionaires and they're not even having millionaire conversations. These niggas ain't had, that's not millionaire convo. They talking like broke niggas. It's niggas in barbershops having more wealthier conversations than the peanut gallery that you out here seeing. These niggas that are clout chasing and whatnot. What technology has one of these niggas rolled out? What type of niggas ain't even rolling no bots out? They got claw bot. They got baby bots. Nigga, they got thought bots. There's all type of shit. There's a new bot coming out every day. None of the finance niggas put a bot out. No bots from Botswana. No apps. No code. I don't even see them on GitHub. They too busy on Pornhub. They not on Hugging Face. They out there hugging nuts. Pause. I'm ashamed of these niggas. And they doing all of this. They doing all of this in the public with no accountability. They don't give a damn about they don't care about nothing that nothing is nothing comes to fruition, that they don't care about none of that. All of these mess halls filled with people with good credit and they not doing nothing but a fish fry. These are the modern day fish fry niggas. Real talk. These are the modern day fish fries. How dare you niggas? Y'all got an Invest Fest and you don't even have a Shark Tank. They just brought that on board and had to use Nipsey Hussle brother and whatnot to get that shit jump started. Nigga, we're in 2020 something. What? Come on, fam.
Like Sham the other day, but Nip, rest in peace, bro. I'll never forget, bro. It was like, man, let's rent a car and let's drive up to Highway 1. So we up the coast, bro. Man, victory lap. Whew, whole ride. Turn off, man, spin it back. And I'll always associate him with the feeling of healing that album brought us in that time. And when you listen to somebody, you feel like you know him, bro. And I showed the movie to another filmmaker, my homie Calmatic, who's from LA. I did the House Party film, did the White Man Can't Jump sequel, and amazing music video director. Just did the Squabble Up video. Showed him Sinners. First thing he said to me, man, he said, seeing them two dudes, it felt like Nip and Sham. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't even thinking about the fact that these two, when he said that to me, bro, that shit hit me on a different, you know what I'm saying, on a different level. Cause I was like, okay, yeah, okay, maybe my cinematic language is getting to where it need to be. Cause I'm putting things in, I'm feeling that I'm maybe not even thinking about. You know what I'm saying?
Man, before it's all said and done, I gotta let the homie direct me in a film or something. I just need to sit and take some instructions with the East Oakland swang. You know what I mean? I just need to, even if it's a commercial, he could help direct a commercial. I just need, you know what I mean? I need to be like, word, facts, for real, facts, true. Stop playing while he talking that shit. Man, but yeah, he said Smoke and Stack remind him of Nip and his broham and whatnot. I could get with that. I could definitely get with that. I could see that. I could definitely see that, man. Salute to the God. Speaking about the Academy, the Oscars and what, there's some other shit going on at the Oscars too that the Mondem might want to talk about, man. There's some other things going on, man. What's up with Tatiana Taylor and all that shit, man? What's up with Tiana Taylor, man? I don't know. Did y'all see that movie? When you talk about Cuba right now, the Tiana Taylor movie was kind of a play on our sister in a sense. If there was a character that we would say that she got inspired by, would be Asada Shakur. So they were using Asada Shakur as the quote unquote as like the as the muse and whatnot, as the foundation to that story and shit. You know what I'm talking about? That's the movie with they were sexualizing. It's a modern day Monsters Ball based off of what some others have said. I didn't say that because I didn't even see the flick like that. I just had a lot of people tell me to go and watch it. I don't really want to see her getting donkey you know, by Leonardo and whatnot, Leonardo DiCaprio, especially if he's in the Epstein files. I'm kind of good on that, right? But yeah, check it out, man.
This one Best Picture. It's for white guys debate too. It inverts the revolution. It scares them, and then it also exploits black women. And those are the two things you need to win any fucking Best Picture these days. Also, Paul Thomas Anderson said, I don't want to get too political. And then he hired someone who's building a luxury hotel in Israel to play an amateur anti-fascist because they wanted to get laid by two. You get it. I only saw two white guys fighting over a woman that they didn't understand, that they didn't want to get to know, that they made a sex object early, and then ended up as a villain in both of their stories. She was the only villain in the movie. Either way, it was just another example of how, you know, women are reduced to their bodies and attitudes and rite of passage roles until they can get a main role. And she's obviously amazing. I'm just saying that movie was for the director's very, very white audience. Tiana Taylor, and any woman for that matter, is bigger than any role where her wants and needs aren't going to get addressed on screen, let alone her character developed. It wasn't just romantically bad or historically bad because, you know, we have the Black Panthers, we have Angela Davis, Asada Shakur. He could have made a movie about them, right? It didn't have to be white and weak. The revolution did not, it was Black and Panthers. But it wasn't just dramatically bad. It wasn't just entertainingly bad. It was all of it at once. Even the music sucked, right? And that's how art works. We throw all the shit at the wall these days. That's how politics works. That's how music works, if you haven't noticed. And whatever sticks, sticks. And obviously, Tiana's fucking amazing. She won them a Best Picture. I just hope I get to see her shine. I'm not a hater because I love There Will Be Blood. It's my favorite score of all time, right? Phantom Thread was another masterpiece, but Daniel Day-Lewis only gets better. Leonardo only gets worse because he stoops little girls and hangs out with Benjamin Netanyahu. Benicio blew me away. Okay, Sean Penn always somehow blows me the fuck away. Tiana Taylor, unbelievable performances, okay? I'm not hating on. Outside of sacrificing Tiana's character for the plot of two white men, we can all agree that that movie was just to show us that the revolution will continue the same sad cycles and it'll face a greater war machine every single time and that there's no point to fight it. Sit on your couch confused, and that's why it won a Best Picture, right? If it made you feel like a human, it would have won Best Documentary and people would have died over it. Have a nice day.
So we got ourselves another monster ball, right? And Tiana Taylor, and you know, and the Scorpio. Leo is a Scorpio, right? Leonardo is a Scorpio. And I've been hearing shit about him for a very long time. You know what I'm talking about? For a very long time. So yeah, that is no surprise. It's no surprise. Yeah, I won't be endorsing that movie. I won't be watching it. But once again, they give movies like that the winner of the year, so it becomes another part of the conversation and whatnot. Shout out to Sinners. Okay. While we're on the conversation about these crazy bald heads and whatnot, you know, I want to show you this video.
You need to stop watching TV to get your news.
Right? I want to show you this video about the Lucky Palmer, right? Lucky Palmer, okay? A real life Lord of War, a real life Tony Starks. There's a report that just came out that said that for the first time ever, they're deploying humanoid robots in the Ukrainian war. If you were to ask me, they're going to roll out humanoid robots in Iran or Iran, right? But they're starting it in the Ukraine and whatnot. Lucky Palmer and Peter Thiel and all of these warlords are going to become front and center, right? Front and center in this quote unquote, this what we would call, it's not an AI arms race, because it's a Lord of War type of scenario. The AI arms race been started. You know what I mean? Like, that's old news. These are going they're going to get in the front of the they're going to the front of the classroom past Zuckerberg and all of them. These are going to be the new oligarchs, right? These are the ones who come forward with the ayahuasca, artificial weapons as a service, right? Artificial intelligence weapons as a service. These are going to become the new quote unquote killing machines of not the future, of the now, right? And Lucky Palmer is the face of that shit.
You wouldn't expect to find a global arms headquarters nestled in Southern California, just minutes from Newport Beach. But it's here where Palmer Lucky runs his company, Anduril. And don't let his casual appearance fool you. He's built a $30 billion AI success in just 7 years.
So Altius is deployed, Sentry Towers are deployed, Dives are deployed, Roadrunners deployed. These are on bases all over the world. We're launching from land and from ships.
That is one of the most ominous things I've ever seen.
On a tour of his weapons, Palmer gets a kick out of showing off his wares. He's selling them to militaries around the world, including the US, which just signed up for this sleek creation.
It is an autonomous fighter jet, no person aboard whatsoever.
No pilot in the fighter jet.
No pilot.
It's frightening to hear about how artificial intelligence controls this Anduril missile.
Let's say that I have 10 missiles. You could have them all come in a line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 on. I can have the first one go in, and the other one can observe that was not a good hit. I'm going to go in. They go in and strike. They say, oh, target destroyed. the other 8 move on to the next target, and they play the same game. So having a brain on board is a very useful thing.
The bullets are making decisions for themselves as well as the gun? Is it that simple?
Correct.
It's this artificial intelligence that's the key invention, controlling all the weapons. It's called Lattice.
Lattice is kind of the AI brain that powers everything we do.
Them putting it on 60 Minutes is basically an endorsement. By them putting it on 60 Minutes is basically an endorsement, is letting all of the other Nick Fuentes of the world, is letting the Indians and the Asians and all of the people that are fence riders know this is what we have. This is the technology that we're working with. You got to also keep in mind that some of that shit be bluff, right? That's one of the things that they do in warfare. They'll sell you bluff and whatnot. Those weapons don't necessarily need to do that because there's only a small amount of people that will ever even know if that shit is real or not. They could say whatever they want to say when the camera is on them. You'll learn about the power of the camera. You'll learn about the power of setting up a set and whatnot. You'll learn about the power of the bluff when you get into media, right? But that's what China plays. That's the game that Russia plays, and that's the game that the Americas plays, right? They deal with the bluff game. Okay, and because they have this big budget and they spend all of this money and it's all of these black ops, people just automatically randomly just, you know, oh yeah, they must be telling the truth. They're not always telling the truth. They and their shit is not always what you think it is. You know what I mean? But it's worth noting, pay attention to that name, Lucky Palmer. You will hear from him in the very near future. You feel me? So yeah, but I think, let me see, we might have one more. Oh, check this out. This is what they're doing with the AI. This is somebody who coded this right out of his house. He doesn't work for the CIA. He doesn't work for DARPA. He doesn't work for any of these quote unquote intelligence agencies. But look at what people are building with APIs and AI.
Watching TV to get your news, head over to Glint.trade. Glint.trade has a terminal that shows you real-time all the world events that are happening. You can see the feed right here on the right-hand side. You can even track whales who are betting on it, which is just insane. This new world we live in, you can track events and bet on them. Here's what I also enjoy, which is pretty cool.
So this is the new arena. This is the new Wall Street. This is the new Vegas. This is the new quote unquote betting get rich scheme, right? They have now been able to not just monetize through the prediction markets, but they have used the AI, or they use the technology and what's available. They're not doing anything that the average person couldn't do. They just didn't know that they could do it, right? Kalashi, Poly Market, you know what I'm talking about? These are the new sports betting arenas, right? These are the new, it's not even black market. This is in the public. Poly Market has billions of dollars invested in it by the big dogs. Okay. So yeah, they're building out shit right now. I mean, I don't know what site this is. Go to gianttrade.terminal. Oh, Glint, Glint, Glint. I believe this repository is also in GitHub, but Glint.
This little camera right here, and you can see all Intel cameras from all over in the world.
Just on some old, like, if you're into this is a crown jewel for researchers. This is a crown jewel right here. This is not just for betting and whatnot. It shows you who's betting on it. It shows you the poly market or the prediction markets, but this is a real-time world map. Forget about all of that BS that they're showing you and whatnot. This is the most accurate, one of the most accurate, up-to-date real-time maps. In a day and time of wild propaganda and things of that nature, at least you could it's a source of information that you can't take it all for value, but as you work with it, you'll realize what's real versus what's not. You'll be able to determine that versus your ass watching CNN or Twitter.
The world. Yeah. Glint.trade. Check them out.
You know? Yeah, they putting big money up. They putting up big money with some of these trades and whatnot. But that's the new come up. That's the new come up. People are hitting that shit on the head. Things are predictable now. And now they've monetized predictability. Before you was just trying to convince niggas that don't like you, you know what I mean? That you knew some things, you know, but nah, it's different. Check this out. But let's get back into Sinners before we wind this thing down. Let's go.
Is the killing floor. We first see when Smoke and Stack go into the mill with the Grand Dragon that one of them leans over and says, "What's happened on this floor?"
Y'all wash these floors? Yeah. What was on them?
There's a feeling that is understood about the floor, nature of this floor. Smoke and Stack both sense that this is most likely a place in which people have died. Their people have died on this floor. And this is confirmed later by Remick and the vampires who know that this is a clan killing floor.
We built something here tonight and it was beautiful. That it was built on a lie.
That this is a slaughterhouse. And so what we see is a transformation of the mill from a slaughterhouse of the clan. And it is when Sammy does his song, we see how that is transformed. It is burned for a reason. It is burned to be cleansed because it is a slaughterhouse floor. And those who are dancing on it are capable of transforming it. And it is no mistake at all that what we see is that when the clan comes in at the end to be able to kill everybody and make it a slaughterhouse floor again, they can't get in, right? Smoke has locked the doors because that place has already been transformed. And so what we see is all the members of the clan who die outside the space because the space is now sacred. And there's no mistake of the fact that they're not allowed into that space anymore because Sammy has transformed it with his music, despite all the fact that a lot of killing happened within it after Sammy transformed it. But that killing was a representation of the sinners moving through their transformation, which I talk about a little bit in my other video.
You want to talk about a killing floor, right? Let's go to the Sudan.
حق تفضل اعتصام كتار مرقوا من الخرطوم الثلاثة يوم لو استمرت شهر في في الخرطوم والله تطلع العمارات الغالية دي والله يخش فوق الكنائس.
Back in 2019, Hemedti, the commander of the Rapid Support Forces militia, threatened that Sudan's capital, Al Khartoum, will be emptied and that cats will move into the expensive buildings. The United Arab Emirates backed his attempt to take power in April 2023, triggering the ongoing war in Sudan. Al Khartoum was indeed emptied. Millions fled the capital, triggering the world's worst displacement crisis. The UAE was able to get away with it because it was under the cover of the empire. As Israel's main regional ally, it effectively dictated US policy on Sudan. And yet,
Sudan became a slaughterhouse. Sudan became a killing field. The Sudan became a quote-unquote a blood bank, an organ harvesting operation for Is It Real, for the goddamn UAE and everybody that eats foreskins, okay? Organ harvesting of people with 12-strand DNA and whatnot, ancient people from Khartoum and whatnot, ancient people from out of the Sudan, out of Kush, my nigga. Talk about it. Same thing with Congo with the 12-strand DNA. Same thing with the Ethiopians. These people are up to something.
To that same empire, the UAE is now experiencing what it did to Sudan as it bears the brunt of Iran's retaliation to US-Israeli aggression. So, how did the UAE start to become just like the country it destroyed? The UAE's status as a global hub for finance and tourism is dependent on its reputation as a safe haven, despite how it destabilizes other countries. A year before the war broke out, the UAE's man in Sudan alluded to bullets raining on the country if things don't go his way.
لكن ما في وفاق والله في ترابيزة تاني ما نقعد. تبقى يا زول.
Remember, the conflict is involving Arabicized Africans. Arabicized African. These niggas are in alignment with the Arabs, going after Christianized Africans, going after Christianized Africans, right? And those niggas are not Arab, they're not Arabicized, right? But these are Arabicized, so they got the Arabs backing them. Sort of like how the Somalians are on that Arab shit.
The UAE-backed RSF would go on to destroy Sudan with drones, but today it is Iranian drones that are raining on the UAE, shattering the illusion of safety and stability that is so important to their brand. Of course, this is bad for business. So, in the same way it tries to whitewash its genocide in Sudan, propaganda was employed to preserve the illusion of safety. The influencers got their marching orders, posting eerily similar videos, pretending that everything is fine. But the problem was the influencers not on the payroll were revealing the reality.
Oh, no. Not meant to be happening here. This is not fun, guys. We're supposed to be in the safest place,
To preserve the image of safety, Dubai police threatened prison or $50,000 fines for anyone posting videos of the drone strikes. To further restrict the reality, Dubai's Attorney General banned 36 X accounts that were going viral sharing footage of the drones. But the mainstream media was also reporting on the damage. Several articles had headlines that specifically noted how the UAE's status as a safe haven took a blow. The UAE Foreign Ministry generally does not respond to negative media coverage, especially not credible reports that it's bankrolling a genocide in Sudan. But when Bloomberg reported that the UAE is running out of interceptors needed to resist the barrage of Iranian drones, the Emiratis had no choice but to respond. The irony is how the UAE twists information to obscure its destruction of Sudan, with its state-aligned influences emphasizing how Sudan has always been conflict-ridden. But now, the UAE is becoming like Sudan, just another war-torn country. The worst famine in the world is in Sudan, where a UAE-backed militia uses starvation as a weapon of war, with children resorting to eating tree leaves. Today, supermarket shelves are rapidly emptying in the UAE, which relies on imports for 80 to 90% of its food needs, as the world's largest shipping company suspended deliveries. To contain the panic, the UAE government ordered residents not to stockpile food. The UAE-backed RSF deliberately cut off the water supply in parts of Sudan. Some Khartoum neighborhoods were without running water for 2 years. The same could happen in the UAE, with drones striking close to desalination plants that provide 42% of its water. In May 2025, the UAE tried to cripple Sudan through drone strikes on oil depots. Under a year later, it is Iranian drones falling on the UAE's oil depots. Khartoum International Airport.
See how that worked during Ramadan? Huh? Allah is the best of planners. During Ramadan, right? This is when this shit is going down. They knocked off the supreme leader who had Supreme on. Right? This is more allegedly. Because if you ask me, he's at the Supreme store somewhere. You know they got McDonald's underground bunkers. I'm sure they got a Supreme store. You know? But look how the pendulum is swinging.
Was destroyed thanks to the war that the UAE waged on Sudan. But today, it's back in action, while Dubai's is regularly targeted by drones. As a result, the world's busiest airport is rapidly losing its status as a transit hub. This is also destroying the UAE's tourism sector. The consequences are worse for Dubai, where tourism contributes a whopping 13% of GDP. And just as the UAE destroyed Sudan's already fragile economy, its own is getting decimated. Dubai's stock market crashed. The UAE's attempts to be an AI superpower are hindered by attacks on data centers. The UAE's status as a hub for the mega-rich is under threat, as wealthy individuals look to move their assets. But the most ironic development is how the UAE is unable to export the gold that it loots from Sudan through its genocidal proxy militia. In the absence of a conscience, it took a hit to the pockets for Emirati leaders to wake up. Billionaire Khalif al-Habtoor is close to the UAE government and endorsed the Abraham Accords to normalize with Israel, but he lashed out at Israel and
So when you see all of this provocation, just know that when you back a rat into the corner, the fangs are going to come out and show the claws. These people are going to become, it's not going to humble them.
the
It ain't
US
going to humble
asking,
them.
who gave you authority to drag our region into a war? But would he ever ask his government who gave it authority to destroy Sudan? Ironically, as life slowly returns to the cities of Sudan, it is being sucked out of the UAE.
والله تطلع العمارات الغالية دي.
Wallahi, y'all niggas, wallahi. It got to go, right? To stand, I don't give a fuck what happens. It can't stand no more after that. You know what I mean? It can't go back. There is no normal. There is no normal. There is no going back after that. Niggas go to Dubai, they gotta get the guillotine. Like we put the fatwa on that shit a minute ago. It's done. We're gonna get to y'all. We're gonna get to you Asians, man. We're gonna make a movie about the Asians. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna make a movie about this. We're gonna make a Sinners 2. You know what I mean? Y'all getting cooked. Y'all could have snuck this shit in the manga. Y'all could have snuck this into the anime. Y'all could have snuck it into Dragon Ball Z and taught us the real truth, but you didn't. You did not. We want some answers, fam. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all niggas was out here cosplaying Tonto. I'm gonna call the big chiefs. We're gonna powwow on you niggas. We're gonna call the big chiefs. Y'all got 48 hours. Give us our feathers back, nigga. We got 48 hours. I want to hear something. Pack him up. You know what I'm talking about? Pack him up. Y'all gotta go. Let me see. We got one more for that ass before we get out of here. Huh? BB, nigga. Talk to us, BB. Get us out. Pack us up, BB. Take us out of here. Take us out of here. BB, take us out of here, BB.
Stop! Put the cup down now!
To this day!
Pack them up. Fuck out of here, BB. Pack your ass up, nigga. You out of here, nigga. You're a rap. Yeah, pack him up, niggas. Pack them up. Get him out of here. Fuck out of here. Yeah, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all all for the show tonight, being in the building. Y'all made this one a classic. You know what I'm talking about? We definitely had a great time. We're going to go to a word of our sponsors. Get that CMOS in your body. Do not play with these people and whatnot, and these wizards and these warlocks. Get that CMOS in your body. No, before you get that CMOS, make sure you sign up to the Imaginarium. Because if nothing else has been made clear tonight, it's the fact that we need fuck what we need, that we have our own media, and our own media is our weapons right now. What Hollywood was out here doing, what those weird people in Hollywood were out there doing, propagating all of this quote unquote propaganda, like all of that stuff has to be countered. Okay, it has to be countered with the new message, a more powerful message. Okay? Let's go into this video right here. We'll be right back.
It doesn't belong to the spectators. It belongs to the architects. Join us this Friday, February 27th at 8 p.m. on Zoom for the 4th installment of the Imaginarium workshop, hosted by Red Pillar, also known as Napoleon Pill.
This workshop is for 90 days, right? When you get in the workshop, you'll have access to the courses that have already been recorded, the PDFs, all of the files and whatnot. I need y'all to get up in this workshop. Get down with this. This is not just about the Imaginarium. We're teaching you how to get automated machines. We teaching you about Claude Bot, Claude Cowork, Claude Skills, all type of stuff. We're going to help you automate the process of either making the comics, the cartoons, the short films, the movies. If you have a business, you need marketing. You got to make your commercials. You need to understand what tools are working, how to use these tools, what are the steps, what are the methods, all of the frameworks. Let's go.
Began as a theory, the fantasy complex industry has now moved into reality. We are entering a world where we control, distribute, and own the intellectual property of our catalogs, our portfolios, and our wealth. No middlemen, no gatekeepers, no borrowed platforms. This is about sovereignty in the age of AI, ownership in the digital economy, power through imagination. Friday, February 27th, 8 p.m. Zoom. Secure your seat. Step into the Imaginarium.
Blueprints in a planetarium. Imaginarium. Blueprints in a planetarium. Imaginarium. Blueprints in the planetarium. Founders get found in the atrium, we carry them. Builders build brick by brick on the manila spin. Best nation, imagination, stamp the atlas in. Gill lights up, code hum like a seraphim. From prompting the prophet, watch the marriage win. We craft the myth and market it, establish it. Imaginarium where raw thought turns atom in. School, chalk dust flow over marble link. Kill the mindsmith, so sesh with a carbon nib. Gods of intelligence, gears turning to lofty mid. Fantasy copies, factory floors where the stars lit. Jenner, spark ether, map the parliament. Operator, rule signal audit all the arguments. Destroyer, cut the clutter, know the counterfeit. Every bar's a spec sheet, every rhyme's a document. 5 pillar stand, comics, tunes, games, toys, animation. We mold the canon, full time, whole constellation. Founders in the foundry with Kalu's dedication. We press the crest and metal.
Visual in my cup, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by steam moss. Flow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, flaws. Visual in my cup, I'm feeling right. Sip to the sunrise, dance to the night. From the oceans, kiss to your city lights. 21 flavors, pure health in every bite. Drip so clean, we're custom made. From reef to street, we elevate. Gold green gel, set the record straight. Nature in a bottle, that's a better way. Charge me up, no caffeine crash. Clean energy, steady splash. From skin to gut, yeah, we live from within. Wellness on 10, let the rhythm begin. Pour it up, pour it up. Feel the wave, body thanking me. Every save, ocean wisdom in this glass. We sell magic, see moss. We sell in my car, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by sea moss. Flow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, flaws. Island breeze in the city maze. We're mineral rich in 1,000 ways. Immunity high like the summer rays. Hydrate the hustle, fuel your days. Berry, mango, ginger, lime. Pick your flow, your flavor, your time. Beauty and balance we redefine. Every little sip, align your shine. Wear it up, feel the way. Body thanking me for every sip. Ocean wisdom in this glass. We sell magic, see moss. We sell in my car, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by sea moss. Flow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, flaws. From the coral choir to the heartbeat drum. Roots run deep where the wild tides hum. Real ones know where the glow comes from. We sell in the mix now, watch
Yes, yes, yes. Shout out to the V-Cell CMOS family. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to the V-Cell CMOS family out there. We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for supporting us. Everybody that bought the V-Cell and supported the brand, woman, black owned brand. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to everybody supporting V-Cell. Shout out to the V-Cell family. Here's the Cash App for everybody that wants to donate to the channel for another powerful episode. Whoever wants to feed the fund and whatnot, whoever wants to keep the machine well oiled, well, now here is your chance. Get a chance to make it rain and whatnot. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, here's your chance. Do your thing. You know what I mean? That's the Cash App right there. Filth more. Okay? Yeah, make it happen, Captain. And with that being said, we're going to end this one the same way that we started it, with the quote unquote song of the year. This might be the 2026 song of the year until it gets dethroned. Theta Waves, featuring the red and the blue. You know what I'm talking about? Twin Pillars and whatnot. Look out for that mixtape. I was listening to Volume 1. We got a mixtape we put out 15 years ago. Fire. Make sure y'all sign up to my Spotify. I'm going to drop the link for my Spotify. I'm on Spotify. Yeah. I got some stuff on streaming right now. The Red Summer album. The Red Summer is what they call it. And I also have I got a few joints up there. You know what I mean? I don't have my whole catalog, but I got some shit to hold people over and whatnot. And the minute I hit 1,000 monthly listeners, then I'm gonna drop some new shit on there. The minute I hit that 1,000. So y'all make that happen. Y'all can put some bots on that shit. Whatever you gotta do your thing. You know what I mean? Do your thing, and we're gonna do our thing. We're gonna drop. We'll go drop for drop. You feel me? What about the Scorpion King? The Scorpion King is in his 10-year anniversary. That is not going to be, when it does hit the streaming, it'll be definitely remastered. It's not going to happen right away. We got things that we need to do before Scorpion King hits the streaming, but something new is going to hit the streaming. That's why I put these older projects on streaming. It's just an indicator that we are definitely in album mode and y'all got something on the way. So go ahead and make sure y'all become monthly listeners. Tap into the music part, tap into the arts, along with the sciences. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, peace, love, and light. Y'all stay dangerous. Techno Tuesdays, mañana, inshallah. What the F, WTF Wednesdays, Third Eye Thursdays, and everything in between. We got some other things that'll be popping up. So y'all look out for that. Peace, love.
Can't beat us, join us, please bring your coinage. We sink 3-pointers, money shots, all net, all vets. Bumps we not, jet skiing in them sunny spots. With women edible like gummy drops. Dummy stop, dummy stop. No weapon form can intercept a storm. Once my intellect is on, I'm projecting on magnetic fields and interact with blacks with athletic bills. I'm all about growth and development like residents of Ebbets Fields. Not to choose between woo and chew. We wanna line them colors up like a Rubik's Cube and fade to black, yeah, the truest hue. When you say the black man is God, who you alluded to? The usual Clarence 13X, a worthy guess. The words expressed come from the word in flesh. Elijah M, the NOI versus Leviathan. Messiah sent from the heavenly branches. 7 P's from since G-Dub cut down the cherry tree in the wilderness of North Mex, and we flossing death and forced aggression, or forced perception, forced protection, or forced confessions. It's all a lesson.
The sorcerers from Corsica, killer tonics, sticks and drums like the Philharmonic Orchestra. You niggas still playing harmonicas from officers, fabric softener. Jive turkeys, popping 5 perkies, playing with keys, the Scotch storage type. For that soft white, we could've caught life, just being forthright. First class on my 4th flight, popping out like Fortnite. Every night we lit like Porsche lights. The meek shall inherit the earth, oh yeah, the scorched type. And these niggas, they some hoes in these streets. Me, I'm 10 toes in these streets. They lost their souls, niggas got holes in their feet. Shit, I'm just worried about the craft and how to perfect it. Not worried about the craft, yeah, that's out of perspectives. Focus on the chip like I'm Robert Kraft, and then how to protect it. It's the waves of the oceans. Get to the money, nigga, save your emotion. Descended of the slaves in the graves in the oceans. Mastermind that the waves is in motions. These niggas, they addicted to the folly, addicted to that molly. Making me a movie, them sticks made of holly. I'm Dr. Manhattan, sitting on top of Manhattan. When I get all 5 rings, snap my fingers and pop up on satin. Dressed in all black, yeah, drop top the Phantom. Blast.
Crumb TV.